Hello. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me make sure that everything is up to par. Okay. Anybody here yet? No. Come on. Just happened. Let's get this started, brah. Is there? What happened? Why did this do this? Okay, boom. Go back. Shoot. I'm sorry. 1 second. I just got to make sure the sound. So I watch myself. Well, I don't really watch, but I'll make sure that the sound's okay or whatever. Okay, here we go. All right. What's up? Glass is off a little bit better. All right. Poof. All right, anyway. Me and my strupet. Is that what you wanted me to do? Say an accent? Let's get this started, bro. What's up? It's a desert cards. William Ball. I just had like a brain freeze about it for a second. Okay. Petey, what's up? Good evening. Mass is in the house, I see. Hold on. Brockton. Saying hello from the 038. What's up, Greg? How you guys doing? So this was going to be about correctional officer. I did a video about it. It'll be on tomorrow. Okay. People have been complaining about it. Friends, some subs, other people about me doing lives and telling stories about how I veer off too much, and I do. It's true. So basically, what happens is there's people that just want to go and watch the story and don't want to watch the live like the next day or whatever, and they're trying to figure out like when I start and when I stop, and like I go on this endless stuff on a 15-minute story, but whatever. But also just to stretch out, to be honest, to stretch out content. I did that video too. So basically, I'll say it in a nutshell. What happened was I got a phone call Thursday morning from prison type friends, just going, dude, what did you do? What did you do? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They said you just dogged one of the good COs. What are you doing? You got to clean that up, right? Got to clean that up. That's such prison shit. And I went back and watched the video, and I had in no way, shape, or form did I mean to dog this CO. I didn't say a name, but I can see things I said left too much to the imagination, and I just went back and kind of cleaned it up. That's the truth. So I was going to do a whole thing. Well, you'll see tomorrow if you want to watch that. I did that Catalina video thing today. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was about my first bust. One of the subs, I forgot which one, asked me to do something about Catalina because I mentioned it before. So I did. Yeah, that's what happened. Those videos, man, it's that people. So really, people like the drama. People like hearing me talk shit. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, that's okay sometimes, and I get in my mode, and I guess I feed off that. I mean, I'm just being honest, and then I just get on one. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Thanks, bro. Bill Knott. Man, I love when something pops fresh on your mind. It's always vivid, raw story. Thanks, Rob. Uh, cool, Bill. Did you catch what I just said? Most people just, they're getting, they're like, dude, you got to at least do a premiere about these or something, especially if it's like an important story. So the correctional officer thing that I'm doing for tomorrow, I'm not going to say it was important for me to address the issue because there's correctional officers from Butner FMC right now watching. Okay. And the reason they're watching is because I basically said I was taking a who's naughty and who's nice list, and that I was going to blast the dickheads on YouTube. I said that straight out to the staff. They go, they see that I'm doing YouTube in prison, like, oh, this dude's serious, you know? Um, you don't know how many CEOs I had come up to me saying, be kind or talk good. I mean, so many of them. I do have a list of Butner CEOs that I was going to address when I first came out. Just like he says, something random pops up, it's vivid or whatever. Two things on that, and I admitted this the other night. I've got a lot of issues, okay? 100%. Let's not deny that. And one of them is I can literally be walking. Well, right now it's to the yard where the flies kill me. By the way, on that note, probably, well, I always put timers on myself and I never fall. Let's give it a week. You won't see this panel behind me. I'll have my office room set up as good as I'll have the walls painted again. And I'm going to set my little operation up in the back room. And so the paneling will be gone. There'll be still flies getting in for sure. They always do. And actually in that room, I have no idea why. I have yet to figure it out. Wasps, red wasps, get in that room. There's some hole, a crack in the window. I have put sealer on it. Of course, right now, it's the person that was here ripped screens and broke a window and all that stuff. But so in the summer, we've got a lot of wasps here too. They don't bother me. I've been stung. They hurt for a minute, but it's no big deal. But they get in that back room. They try to, and then they just try to get out the whole time. So they pretty much stay back there. And before, if you guys watch me from the past, you guys have seen the wasp get in. Big bug problem down here in Old Hartford, Arkansas. Anyway, DeGosta, what's up? P, you should have me on one day. 17 years being a CO. Oh man, for sure. For sure. I was going to say maybe I dropped the link now. You know what? Like, I don't even know how to do that on the fly. I can probably figure that out, but well, anyway. Yeah. Petey, get a pencil and paper, please. R.J. Rosso, so R.J.R.O.S.S.O. 1969 at gmail.com. And Rob, if you're out there, yes, I got a flag on the email. I do want, I wanted to pick up on that junior thing because I want to do a story about that, about the Chinaman. I mean, not the Chinaman. Oh my God, did I just say that? Chinese guy, my bad. That was like racist now to say that, about the Asian dude or whatever. And yeah, anyway, I live by that. It is what it is. So what I was going to say when I'm bouncing again. In full disclosure, what happens is I will go literally sit down I'll be walking. I'm going to do a story about the ABs today. And I'll get out there and I'll do a mob story. Like that. It's crazy and how often I do. And a lot of it has to do with I have papers, so I didn't keep a journal in prison this time. I kept a journal for years, so I've got journals from before. So I've got 2 tubs of legal work and papers, and which is content, which I've had since I got out of prison in 21, which I've talked about since then. Trial transcripts. So I'm gonna do trial stuff. I have one of the rats in my case was busted the night before in the hotel room that the government paid for so they can testify against him the next day. Got caught manufacturing meth in the room. They didn't disclose that to my trial counsel. So there's stories about that, and he recanted it and a whole bunch of stuff. And just a lot of, I wrote a book in Leavenworth, like 1,000 pages. So there's all kinds of content in that. But the stuff I pop off with is just the stuff I usually know, and I don't have to do much research and stuff. So I guess it's just, I wouldn't call it laziness because it's not that, because I'll sit around all day and, try to figure out how to do a thumbnail, try to figure out how to erase or fix these apps on my phone that, but what I have been doing is I've been organizing the content. But anyway, so I've got all this stuff down. And by the time I get out there, even if I go out there with the paper and pad in my hand, boom, I switch the video. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, really. Is it bipolar? That's the question. But It never ceases to amaze me how much damage tenants can do in a short period of time, especially if they're under the influence of methamphetamine. Meth, more than any drug, does so much damage. Well, I mean, it's freaking nuts. It's nuts. And I've been guilty for sure. My thing was really moving stuff around in the yard. Like that was really a bad thing. That was man, I tore down two houses by myself. Had a Kubota for a while. So family took it back over the family fight that we got into. Anyway, so I did use the Kubota. I did have a friend help me tear down one that this thing wouldn't come down, and I was so mad because the foundation, I should have looked, that could have been easily put up and rented. But I tore them all down. And then what had happened was my wife came from Spain, and I had a bunch of wood across town, and I was spending too much time there. So I took all this old wood from 1910 and moved it all in my yard, okay? So I took it in trailers, put it on the yard, and that sat in piles forever. Then I had 4 people's property when I moved in here. The mother, the 3 siblings, they were all old, antiques, everything. Those were in barns. And then I would clean one out and I'd move everything. I would just move shit. It was psycho, right? It's so, anyway. And now when I go in the yard, I feel flat. It sucks. I'm getting better at doing stuff out there, though, to be honest. Yard has been a trigger for me. Not like, so probably 2 times really that were serious since I've been out, but I'm able to now, go out and know that I can't run 100 miles an hour, and try to complete 3 projects at once. And it's different, it's flat when yard work, but it's part of my exercise routine. So I'm getting back to it. RJ Rosso 1969. So RJ ROSSO 1969 at gmail.com. Sounds like ADD symptoms. That could be probably. That's been talked about for sure. Here he is, the mutt. Okay. Hey Rob, I think this sink I found in the Reno hoarder house of the 100-year-old lady is antique. Oh, it's shaped like a hexagon, kind of. It's white and royal blue pattern. Looks like something from Aladdin. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Here he is, the mutt. I don't know if I'm the mutt. If I'm the mutt, here I am. Bob Miller. You ever do time with the black? Greg. Leo. Felton. Yes. I can do. I got to do one about Leo, right? Wow, what a nut job that guy was. Super intelligent, very smart guy. At the same time, completely. Well, he had a bad identity crisis for sure, right? This guy had a black father, a very wealthy black Canadian father, if I remember correctly, white mom in the States, and he was a white supremacist, kind of like what was the comedy show, the black Ku Klux Klan member. When that guy, I know you're talking about Leo. When that guy walked in to the laundry room at USP Lewisburg, I'll never forget him. So he was in the hole for a while. When you're in the hole for a while, your skin gets very pale, okay? This dude had racist tattoos on his head, or racist, white, whatever you want to call them. And I can clearly see this dude has African American and not just a little bit in him. I have no idea how he was passing in those circles for that, and was like a leader in that stuff. Trying to bomb churches or whatever. I know that's who you're talking about. It's got to be. If it's not, I don't know the other one. But he ended up. This is what Rob's saying right now. Leo. Yeah, name was Leo. He ended up. I found out, was it at Hazleton? He became a Muslim, but he changed. Yeah, he changed his name. Somebody told me this. He changed his name. I thought he became a Muslim. I think he did, but I'm not really sure. Who was I with that was talking about him? Who would be able to tell me? Oh, that's Chapstick. I don't talk to him. But I'll tell you about him. Yeah, I got to do a video about that. Okay. It's a wonder they didn't peel all the paneling off the walls. They didn't. They just decided to leave the walls and tear the floors. Bill not. Yeah, they went for the floors. Was in the home with him and what did you think of him, Greg? What did you think? No problem, Petey. Oh, he did get into a fight with Sean. Man, see, Rob, that's why we need to actually talk. Because, first of all, you were at Lewisburg longer than me. Second of all, you still got a very good memory as well. You know, a lot of guys I talk to don't. And I'm not saying they did drugs, but it's not like that. Yeah, so, and you didn't do drugs and you remember all this stuff. So you can actually help me a lot. Now, this guy his name's Rob. He's a friend of mine. We did 5 years together, 5 years. And Sean was Leo's first close friend there. Okay. So let me tell you, we'll go ahead and tell the Leo story right now. It's a good one. Yeah, Muslim now. Okay. Let me go through this and then I'll tell the story. This is what I do all the time. Bounce. Rob, I hear you on trying to do too many projects at one time. It's hard sometimes for me just to focus on one thing. I'll be organizing my tools and jump to changing. Yeah, for sure. And let me tell you something on meth. I was going to say opiates. I can concentrate too, but let me tell you, I built a website. I stayed up one night. I built it, and when I came down and came up, I had no idea how to get on. I had no idea how to do anything. But I was laser focused. I was able to follow everything perfectly. I know that sounds more and more like ADHD, because you give rhythm, you can concentrate. There's truth to that, but it doesn't pan out in the end, But yeah, and even when I did like yard projects, I completed them. I mean, like I moved everything from A to Z, but it was just all it was stupidity, waste of life and time. Okay. Greg. I was talking to him through the vent. They went out to wreck, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Okay, so here's what happens. Leo comes in. Big guy, tall guy, long arms. You kind of look at the person, in case you're going to fight. Well, okay, he's got to reach. I got shorter arms. I mean, just, all that stuff. That happens naturally. So he comes in, and one of my brothers, his name was Scott Tolley, a.k.a. Scooter. This guy was, I want to say he was tight with David Lane or one of the guys from the order or whatever, whoever really started pushing for the Odinist stuff in prison. I want to think it was Lane or one of the guys that started the 14-letter whatever, okay? So Scott was really big on Odinism. And as a matter of fact, started the Odinist pit at Leavenworth, okay? So it took a minute for those guys to push and get stuff done on that Odinist stuff, okay? Scott was about the Odinist stuff and then became a dirty white boy at like 42 or 43 years old. I remember he really didn't prospect for a hot second. He got in on him and a dude named Jeremy. They got in together on a hit. They were running with the Dirty White Boys, but it shocked me when Scott became a DWB because there was a big group of guys that wanted to do the Odinist thing. As a matter of fact, they did. There was like 30 dudes the first day. It got big at Leavenworth. But then there was they looked down on Scott for becoming a Dirty White Boy. And he was the Gothi or whatever it's called. I used to call him the Kufi. They get pissed. But whatever they're called, the priest, the guys that run stuff. And just people lost respect for him, really. And then that was at the same time when the whole compound kind of revolted against their Dirty White Boys because of the arms and all this other stuff. But anyway, so let's jump to Lewisburg. Lewisburg doesn't have a pit when we get there. Scott's on him. gets the pit opened up. And here comes Leo, who's an Odinist, and he's black, half black. There'll be guys that say that doesn't matter. I've heard that before. Actually, I heard that from a prison documentary I was watching out of Indiana. And these guys were calling it a racist religion. And they were saying, will you accept blacks in there? And he said, yeah. Then they had some black dudes go, and they were like sick, for real. But there was a deal. There was only 5 DWBs, and we weren't there that long. And honestly, we were trying to like walk the line for a couple of reasons. Number one is we were the first white prison gang there since the murders, the DC AB stuff. And two, we're getting our footing. We weren't trying to run nothing in the prison. We weren't trying to run the prison. That we weren't even trying to do that, right? So there was, the thing came up. Are you guys going to hit Leo? Were we going to hit Leo? And Billy Weston was actually calling the shots at the time for us. However that happened, whatever. Anyway, Billy's all right. Scumbag, but all right. And I forgot why we didn't, but I do know that Sean, this dude he just said, Sean jumped in and like put his 2 cents and like said, I'm riding with Leo. And we liked Sean, and I got to see, okay, hold on. He almost started a war in Hazleton Gym. Greg, was it because of what? Do you know why? If you can elaborate, if you can. William, just be yourself, Rob. Don't worry about jumping around. You have so many gifts and talents and a ton of potential. Do the great things for prison system. Thank you, William. I appreciate it. That gifts and talents comment sends electric shocks up me. You know why? It's because I told you, I've talked openly about the fact that I watch a lot of addiction recovery, psychology, philosophy. I do. And hopefully one day I can figure this out and actually get a program or something, try to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this. I'm still so stuck because it's important to me big time. So is criminal justice reform, but so I got too many, I got to concentrate, do one thing at a time and blah, 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 right? I know that. But one of the archetypes, I guess the proper word is, of who I really found out that I am, and it's spot on. Nobody can convince me otherwise ever. They talk about that. They talk about having, hold on, let me see. They talk about having gifts and talents. And as a flaw in the potential waste, it was really, I'm not going to go further into it. I've talked about it. It's affected me. This stuff has affected me in a big, big way. There's like light at the end of the tunnel, but it's like, a lot of work within myself. Anyway, just get used to being sober and still finding pleasure in the things you love to do. Hi, just takes time. Just getting through the day sober is a huge adjustment for the first 6 months or so. Yeah, thank you. And I do realize that. And for sure, I got other stuff going on inside of me too, for sure. But everybody does. So it's not. Rob, I finished a pilot show about Jesus as a teen. I named it Teen Jesus. Then I snorted and crossed the name out and changed it to and turned it to what? Tinjus. This is totally random. Me think it was $1 million idea. Yeah, $1 million idea. So I was telling the story today about getting busted on Catalina Island. And it dawned on me how much I did not enjoy cocaine. And I did it. This was my pattern, okay? I did coke every night. And I did it to go to bed. Goes back to the ADHD stuff, right? The way I went to bed on cocaine was I did a big, big line, like a half gram, really. Hear that hole in my nose? But I never, unless I was drinking alcohol, okay? But there was a lot of times when I did it, when I didn't drink alcohol. It was uh it was like it was like taking a sleeping pill at the end of the night. I mean, there were some nights literally that I would do it and go to bed within an hour, you know? I'm not saying that always happened or I didn't stay up. I stayed up on Coke for sure. Sometimes, you know, a day, or I think my longest was 3. But I never, it's so weird. It was, you know, great for like a BJ. I got to watch the YouTube stuff. And that's basically, it was just, I don't know. It was such a waste, but so many opiates I like enjoyed, you know, didn't matter where I was. But Coke and then the speed, it was more of a, it was, so not since 21, you know, not since when I got out and started using meth after 20 years, what they call meth, which is not, it's some weird shit. But it was about sex. That's where it was. So of course, you know, there was yeah, it was different than Coke, where yes, that was what I thought about as well, but different, you know, it was different. Like I said the other day, I talked about this on one of the lives. When I went to trial, there was a probation officer there, Susan Wickham, and she was there the entire trial. The entire trial was a day and a half. It was like a hearing. And she asked me during my pre-sentence investigation report what the difference. She told me that, yeah, it's been 30 years almost. She told me that she went to Kansas University, I think it was, and that she did Coke before. So like, what's the difference, she was asking. And I said, Coke made me want to go to a hotel room and bring 2 girls and get blowed. You know? Yeah, that's what I said. That's because I said it wrong the other night. And I said doing meth made me want to go back to that same room with those same 2 girls. I said that I wanted to bring 2 girls to a hotel, watch porn, and have them blow me. Okay. And then I said on meth, I want to bring those same 2 girls back to the hotel room. Only this time I don't want to watch porn. I want to make a porn with them. That was the difference. And she was hot too. So it's probably kind of some kind of flirt thing. She was really pretty. Okay. Take time for your brain to heal. And oh man. So that's one of the things. That's one of the things I want to talk about too. They do talk about, so there's more. Somebody has told me there's more than just dopamine. I'm not going to get into that right now. I did. Anyway. There's so much more when you go to rehab, those 28-day programs, right? Which I think are good. If the person wants to, not being forced by court or whatever. If you're ready, you can learn a lot. I did learn a lot in rehab. I did the first time. I know that sounds stupid. It's like you learned so much. Look at what you did. No, I did. It was just connected to the wrong stuff. But the second time, they say that rehab is a, recovery process. And I said, no, it's a discovery process. It's not about recovery. It's about discovery when you go there, especially if you get the right counselors. But I do believe when it comes to meth, that they're getting a lot wrong. There's a cross addiction with many people with meth and sex. And even if you get off of meth, you have sex addiction issues. There's brain stuff, like you said. So there's a lot more to it. And then we can get into the different personality types, which can be if you want to really do a deep dive. I'm wanting to do the deepest dive I possibly can. Okay. So it doesn't matter if somebody told me I was wrong, and it doesn't matter. This is what I'm doing. And I do believe that they really need to really look at a person's beginning. They do come out and, you know, try to get your background, of course, but there's so much more I think they can do. And I don't think that it has to be more money or more time in those places, even though I think 30 days is too short. I think 30 days is too short. But there's so much more, man. I can't get the grip on it, but I can get a grip on that before I can get a grip on criminal justice reform, because that is too overwhelming. It's too political. It's too much of the economy, too much pushback. On that note, I have been saying more and more that I do believe that criminal justice reform starts with children, and that means that anybody who violates a child should be held to the highest possible penalties. This is so clear to me now. And today in Florida, I saw they made some arrests of some sick people. And I also said something else that I have rethought as of within the last couple hours, watching these cops talk. I made a comment about the clickers in the Federal Bureau of Prisons the other night, that they are now going after clickers like they went after crack people that were selling crack, the guys on the corner, the users, the little guys, hoping to get to the bigger guys, but they were knocking off a bunch of people that were broke dicks, okay? Because it was easy. Because all they got to do is jump out and get some guy with new tennis shoes and a new chain, or the guy driving a Mercedes in the hood. Just get those. I mean, it's very simple, right? Now they got the clickers. This is very simple. Somebody can sit behind the desk and just nab. They mentioned it tonight. Technology, and it's easy for them to round up a bunch of people. Clicker, and I said that I thought they're getting carried away and they're filling up the prison systems with clickers. I'm not trying to make it sound better by saying clickers. I'm watching YouTube stuff too, because I'm getting hit. They're knocking my monetization stuff off a lot for cussing or saying certain things, okay? But I wasn't taking into account the re-victimization of the kids. Of course, you can say, the argument can be made, the kids don't know, but there's some that might. And when that was brought, I was like, okay, yeah, I really wasn't looking at that part of it. I wasn't. Anyway, yeah, just babbling. Scott with then tattoos on his forehead, Mr. Vapor. No, this was Scott looked like a biker. Looked like, so he had he wore a bandana, he wore dark shades. He was a biker. He was never in a biker gang. He's from North Dakota, Wyoming, South Dakota. Like that was his place. Boys, terrible. So he went to Leavenworth, Lewisburg, and Beaumont. Beaumont, he just kept getting the shit beat out of him by our brothers, because every time he got drunk, he'd start calling blacks the N-word. Every single time. I mean, it was, it's causing problems. And he'd get violated over and over again. Steve, dude, tell more stories about your younger days. Today's video about Catalina was great. We are the same age, so it brings back times. But been with you since day one. Steve, I appreciate it. So there's going to be a lot of more younger day stories. Number one, content. Let's be honest. This is a business model I'm trying to work out, okay? It's content. But I don't just want to tell the stories. I want the stories to be told probably from A to Z, right? And then tie it into, so kind of do a chronological order, right? Because in those stories, like today, for example, if you've seen that video, I started, and that is to make it longer, okay? Let's be clear. But I try to so context matters to me in everything in life. So I try to do that. But in those stories, there's so many other little stories. And it does have a lot to do with sex and drugs. Okay. And as guys, especially, and some girls that watch, but those stories, they're funny. They're maybe sad. You can look at them different ways, but it was all of what made me become a career criminal, who I am today, whether that's good or bad. Can argue bad, can argue good, whatever. It is. I am who I am. It is what it is. Sucks sometimes, but yeah, there's a lot, and I was I was a young kid who was popular mostly through I always was in with the in crowd, I guess, in school, and kind of the drugs made me more popular, I guess. And then you got the whole girl thing with it. But then I was like, I'm not trying to sit there and sound like Mr. Pluck. Yeah, I banged everyone. I did. I did. But so I'm trying to figure that out too. You can get carried away in a story that doesn't have much to do with the furthering your story or whatever. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So anyway, JK from the show Righteous Gemstones. Hey, Doug Osteiff. Let me see. Me think it was $1 million deal. Okay. I'm not sure. I kind of lost that. Scott with the tattoos on his forehead. No. Rob, who is the current leadership of the Aryan Brotherhood? Huh. So, G-Man Brooklyn, just so you understand, and I'm assuming you don't, okay? I just want to go. The Aryan Brotherhood started in California, okay? Which you might know all this. They are connected loosely with the ABs in the feds. I don't know how strongly they are. And when I talk about the Aryan Brotherhood, I'm not talking about the California bunch because I don't know much about them. So California ABs, peace. I'm talking about what I do know. Or, maybe I'll do some stories on them that I'm reading and people can put in context or whatever. But the leader, it'd have to say TD Bingham. As a matter of fact, when I was in Butner, somebody told me that TD died. Not true, from what I know right now. And this guy has been to ADX. This guy knows all the players. And we were trying to figure out, well, who's running them now? And for a half a second, I thought that there was a guy named Germ who is half Mexican. So I had on my notes, Mexican running the Aryan Brotherhood. Or is a Mexican running the Aryan Brotherhood, ? And I was going to do the background, and I still might because it's a good story about Germ. I was going to go ahead and do the story about him because I know he's an ADX, or I knew he was. I think he still is. I don't know him. My friend knew him well. I know about some things about him. And that was going to be like my kind of, who's running the ABs now. But I'd have to say Bingham. I don't really know. Okay, I don't. Can I find out? Probably it would. Yeah. Okay, he was beefing with the white gang. We were talking about Leonard. 3 days. You must have seen ninjas in a tree. So coke was not something I hallucinated off of. Now meth. So the most I've stayed up was 6 days. After 3, when I'm driving, this is so I hallucinated really bad in 23, and that was because the drugs were really good, and I'd been up only 1 day. But in general, it used to be the 3rd day I would drive, and I drove all the time. Okay. So my routes were, so basically it was, I had four houses in different parts of Arkansas. This is back in 96, 97. And I would drive, so let's just say leaving this county, Fort Smith, Sebastian County. Then I would go down to Conway, Arkansas, then up to Calico Rock, Arkansas, then up to Missouri, then all the way back down to Dermont, which that was going to Louisiana, to West Memphis, Arkansas. So it was pretty much picking up money. I was always driving. And when I drove, it always looked, the mailboxes in the country, the mailboxes always looked like either people going, hey, or kids running across the street. So I got it in my head that, okay, I'm just hallucinating. Can you imagine if I would have hit somebody? I mean, really, because I just, when it first started happening, it used to trip me out. But then I was like, this is just what it is. So everything that was moving or waving, you're just lack of sleep, dude. It is what it is. Hey, is that a chick? Hey, Barb, want to go get her? Let's go pick her up. She was in the girls as much as me. So that's how that was. You have a calling, embrace it, walk it, and share it. Your calling isn't dictated by your past mistakes. You were made on purpose for a purpose. I think you need to get my number so I can call you when I'm having bad times. William, thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. Rob, you should go do what's the word? Ayahuasca. I don't know. I don't know the word. Is that? Is that? Are you talking about uh, the mushrooms, the LSD trips in Mexico and all that? Who's calling? Let me see, because I'm waiting on somebody. Oh no, you're not. My number back. Just go get my number and then come home. Dude, I'm doing a live right now. Can I call you after I'm done? You gonna be up for a while? Sorry to hear that, bro. Mike Miller's coming down. He'll be down. I think he's in a. I think he's in a Ozark right now, so he'll be down here tomorrow with his old lady and four wheelers. You should come. Okay. Anyway, uh, never liked Coke. Now that The Rock, that was good stuff. Okay. Never liked Coke. Now The Rock, that was good stuff. I'm told I'm built different. Wasn't addicted to me. Weird coming down, but didn't feel like more. Really? Um, Rock. Okay. That's how I do. By the way, if you guys ever talk to me or get messages, I do voice dictations. I rarely write, and I get. You think I ramble on here? Sean should be out. He had like 22 years. Yeah, and I like Sean. I like Sean. Okay, so there you go. Back to the story I was going to tell about Leo before I went everywhere. Leo. So he didn't get hit over the Odinus pit. Sean was really backing him. Sean was a fighter, if I'm correct, right, Rob? He looked like it. But Sean was a good guy, but Sean was a good guy, but Sean also was doing the homosexual pen pal hustle in a big, big way, which made people wonder because the cops busted him out. If you remember, because he was getting freaky with the dudes that were sending him money. And you said his last name, but oh well, he'd be all right. But what Leo ended up doing? Okay, he gets in a fight with Sean. I forgot about that. Then it was really kind of a check-in move to go to the ADX. So there's people that want to go to the ADX. I was one of them at one time. I was like, that would make me the bigger convict. But it wasn't only about that. It was about there was fantasies of drying out in the ADX because I was, I'd get so strong. I like doing time alone. I did good shoe time alone. I did. Yeah. Yeah, that's just for me. So maybe that's why I'm easier to be alone here. I don't. Rob, you ever watched any of those Predator Catcher YouTube channel? Those Predator Catcher YouTube. But Predator, you mean like To Catch a Predator? Is that what you're talking about? If you hurt a child, then you should be hurt. To what extent? That's not up to me. Whatever. Yeah, me and my stupid. It is sure. It sounds good to take justice in your own hand. Okay, of course we all want to do that to somebody. Of course, that's like instinctual for a lot of us, right? They need to really crack down on that. And do you see the stats? If you believe stats on, and I said this the other day, on mothers who do things to children that are like on the download, like even when like touching and fondling when they're dude, it's like 1 in 3 or something like that. And this came about because I was watching something about a Canadian couple that were a guy and a girl that were doing bad things, and then they were doing them to kids. And then after the YouTube gets in the little algorithm, I guess, and then it came on to women. Oh, it was the school teacher things too I was watching. There's so many hot school teachers with these kids. Man, and that's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say because a man did and it's, and we as guys, yeah. Anyway, they're recirculating photos to catch more people. What's up, Spirit Annoyance? Yeah. Did you know a Tommy Stutter? Was he a dirty white boy? Tommy Stoddard? I thought he was from, if it's the same one, he said Texas, but I thought he went to Colorado. or had a girl from Colorado. I'm sure I think that was one of the brothers when he left before I got my patch. I think that's who you're talking about. If it's not, I know who Tommy Stoddard is. If it's, I just can't. When I ceased, I think trumpet. Okay. Which part of the country were the nicest, most trustworthy whites from in prison? Minnesota? Wow. Huh. I can't think of like a collective of white guys and who were nicer than the other. So, you said Minnesota, but I know some real scumbags out of Minnesota too, out of everywhere. So I can't say that like a geographical group. I can't. Sean, oh, he's talking to you, Rob. Okay. Can't change the past, only the future. You're right. You're right. Although, so I do think so I get stuck in the past a lot, for sure. I'm a man child, for sure, who remembers the glory days, kind of like a high school football player that all they did was they were really good in high school and nothing else. But I do believe that to do a deep dive on the past, maybe not dwell on it so much. So in my case, I do the what ifs too much. Based on since 21 more than anything, because it was I could have never, I would have never imagined it. Yeah, I get in the beat myself up mode about it, but at the same time, I am learning stuff that's helping a lot. I am. It is okay. It's one thing to know. I am somebody who can reflect and tell you exactly why I did. I mean, my judge said that to me. Like, he said that he'd never seen anybody that, because he watched my channel, that reflected so much. It's true, but then what do I do with it? Keep doing the same shit over? And I'm not even talking about the uses of drugs. I'm talking about just different behaviors. So I do need to untangle a lot of that stuff from my past still. There's some that are at the top more than others. I did learn in rehab certain things about, it's going to be okay, sorry, 1 second. So he's in Arkansas, I got to see. Hey, I'm on YouTube Live right now. Go ahead, say it again.
Say, what's up, motherfucker?
Okay.
49, about 70 miles from I-40.
Okay.
Fishing and shit,
but
I'm going to my buddy's tonight, and he got a bonfire waiting on me and everything. So
okay, cool. So there's that motorcycle run.
we get to check out.
Dude, there are. I was up in Fort Smith earlier. There's all kinds of, dude. There's bikes galore up there right now. So, okay, all right. So let me finish this and I'll call you after. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna click on it and watch you.
Okay, bro. Bye. All right. Oh shit. Okay. The truth is going. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I had to take that. Strep it is a street word, code word, street name for something. Okay, I got you. Ronnie Yandel. Ronnie Yandel. What? You're asking me about Ronnie Yandel? Ronnie Yandel. That doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. Rob, what guys other than Stampa did you know from Philly? Kazi, Daniel Castelli. Ciccolini, who Rob was bringing up the other night. I think there's a couple chickies out of Philly. I'm not sure which one it was. All I know is he was a complete nutcase over washer and dryer in the Hobbycraft or downstairs. Where was he at? That was his job. So they took the washer and dryers out of the prison systems. Most Butner still has them, actually, some places in Butner. But they had a washer and dryers, so they had the inmate laundry, and then they had the washer and dryers. So everybody blames Michelle Obama, whatever that's true or not, I don't know. But they took all the washer and dryers out. But there was like some downstairs, like in certain rooms that people would use. But Chicky was like, that was his. He was protective. And you have to tell him who, like, he was like nuts over that. So a lot of guys there do a lot of time in prison. They get old and they have a job and they just like, that is their life and want to protect it at all costs. There was a guy at FCI Terre Haute named Wolf, old bank robber, bad heart, bad health, in his mid 60s, and the library was his world. The library there, the regular books were completely a mess. This dude took like 3 years and organized that place and reorganized it, and it was his life. He started having, they did so many heart surgeries they couldn't do anymore. So right before COVID, or I think it actually when COVID happened, yeah, we were on the COVID schedule, but we were able to go to the library. That's when they opened up more. You can tell this dude was dying, okay? And it wasn't of COVID. And I told him, Wolf, you got to go to the hospital. He said, who's going to take care of the books, the library books? And he put it off, and sure enough, he was walking to go get his blood pressure checked and dropped. And the nurses later said that they could have done something in the hospital. He was so obsessed with the library, he died over it. I did a video about that a long time ago. He died over that. I see, however, the truth is my brain now going on the direction. Okay. Roy, okay. Hey, stop it. Outside brain chemistry and hormonal changes returning to healthy levels. I think learning how to live a healthy life plays a massive role in sobriety too. Discipline, structure. Okay. So you talk about sobriety. So I've been off I know the last time I did meth was February 2024. I got locked up. But I was on Suboxone. And I do consider that still part of not being clean. Because to me, and we can get into the Suboxone thing right now. I mean, a lot of guys, it's passionate. It can be a passionate, heated debate for and against, okay? One of the things that I came to the conclusion of is that my brain still wasn't healing properly, that I wanted. And I do believe it's going to take a couple years. And let me tell you something. Even if your brain changes, things go other neural passageways, whatever the proper term, it changes you for sure, but that doesn't mean you just can't think. The worst thing about drugs in general, but especially meth, is the emotional changes that it had in me. The emotional changes. I already have stunted emotions from drug use and from prison my whole life. You kind of get stuck when you get incarcerated. You're like stuck at 27 or whatever. There can be good stuff about that too. But that was one of the things that came with Suboxone. And speaking of Suboxone, so I did call somebody. Actually, I called somebody. Then that led to another person with psychology background, which led to calling to make an appointment for psych reasons for me. I haven't been to a counselor for a long time, but I'm probably too far into this shit right now. Okay. And that person, just on a conversation, suggested maybe to go back on Suboxone. And I wasn't even talking about cravings but yeah, that's not my agenda right now. Just becoming disciplined and living a structured life, developing a routine where I fill up my time with productive habits helped me a ton in getting sober. You know what? And that's true. And let me tell you something. So even right now, even though my sleep schedule is everywhere. Okay. I will wake up. I will go to bed at 10, wake up at 1, get up, stay up till 5, and go lay back down. It's everywhere. In the morning, I get up, I say a prayer, and I make up my bed every day. My workout has not gone, and my eating stuff, it's got better, but it's not to where it needs to be. But I still need a solid routine. And so now it's part of my personality trait. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to take care of it tomorrow. I'm going to stop tomorrow. That's a bad thing in me, okay? I am banking now. My latest one is when I get the room painted and done. I've got the paint now. Thanks to, what is his name? I need to thank this person. I really need to thank this person. I am sorry. Because somebody sent me something on Cash App that was a very big deal to me. And I have not. Where is this person? How do I not see when people? Man, I wanted to tell this dude thank you. Damn it. Wow, where is he? Is it that one? Sean Flattery. I want to thank you so much for that. Seriously. That just you don't know how much that helped. I just wanted to thank you for that, and I forgot to do that the other day, 2 days ago. Dundee Utility. What's up, bro? Thanks. Good for you. June 20 will be 5 years sobriety for me. Smartest thing I ever did. When he rips the glasses off at story time. You guys got me pegged, huh? I did significant California's time, and the AB dudes aren't impressive at all. They are violent drug addicts. That's zero brotherhood in the Aryan Brotherhood. Yeah, so they used to be protectors in the 70s and then became predators, such as all white prison gangs become that way when they get a bunch of power. Gangs in general. It happens, I believe. The ABs have that name because they started it because of Hollywood pushed it. It's because, like even I say this many times now, even like black dudes in prison, you see somebody with the bald head and goatee that's supposedly a gang member, they're ABs, I think that's changing now because guys are more wiser. But for, when I went to Lewisburg, they all thought we were ABs, So that whole AB name sticks. And that's the reason why a lot of the prison gangs use that. My glasses are back on, so I'm not talking stories. Al Bundy, haha. What was the first meal you ate when you got out of prison? Which time? The first meal this time? I didn't freaking eat for... So this time, I came home, went to a friend's, stayed there till 5 a.m. because I didn't want to come to the house because I didn't ever expect it was going to look like it did. So there was people here, family members, and I was avoiding coming here. And then when I came, it was, I think I didn't eat for some days. It was like dramatic, for real. So I don't know this time. So I used to remember this. So first time incarcerated for any period of time, the months was LA County, 63 days. I talked about that today on a year sentence. The way I got that, by the way, it was a slick move by Judge Gordon and Priamos. Was it Priamos? That was my attorney. He knew Judge Gordon. And what they did was they gave me a year. By the way, first they tried to have me go to rehab twice. Damn, I should have brought that up. I don't think that would have mattered today. Damn, I could have brought that up in that video. I forgot about this. So, I said before white privilege, that wasn't necessary. I was just making kind of a joke about it, but for sure there was family money, family connections, I guess, with the union who got the right attorney, who knew the judge, and they did a supplemental stuff. I forgot what the actual term was, so they put it off for an inpatient program. So I go to an inpatient program and I start selling cocaine in the house and on the street, and keeping drugs in the house. And then one day there was a meeting. There was about almost 20 of us, and like 18 were high. And somebody ratted me out, which, that was bullshit anyway, because there were some really serious guys. I was a kid too. I can't justify for it. It was wrong. But the cops came, raided my stuff. There was no drugs in it. But also, that same day, I was supposed to be working in the labor's union. I was not. I was surfing or dealing, or just hanging out. I was on the cliff at Royal Palms in San Pedro. That's a famous surf spot. Smoking a joint with a circle. There was a circle of us passing a joint around. And Fred, what was his name? This was a guy who owned all these rehab houses. Fred, whatever, comes jogging by. Dude. And this is the same day when they're raiding my shit at the house. And he sees me and he looks and he goes, "Hey." And I'm trying to like get away. There's like cloud of smoke. "Hey, where are you supposed to be right now?" I said, "At work, but there's no work." He goes, "All right, make sure you talk about this tonight. Like, tell him like that I missed work and that I was smoking weed." I didn't have to, because I went back to the house and got booted. Then, so he goes to court and tells the judge that there's allegations of me dealing in the house. And it was 16ths, by the way. Everybody wanted 16ths for whatever reason. And then my lawyer told me to get myself in an outpatient program and to get married. Okay? I was not married. My first wife, wow, I'm going into story time here. Let me do this. My first wife, full disclosure, I say that a lot, full disclosure, was from a divorced family. And I had reservations about marrying the girl because she was from a divorced family. That's true shit. Because in my mind, back in the day when I was 17 years old, pregnant, she was pregnant with my kid. I was still like, I don't know, because divorced people, I think, will get divorced easily. That's where my brain was at then. And we got married really, yeah, she knows that. We got married because the judge told me, you need to get married. You need to marry her. Yeah. So I go to an outpatient program and get busted banging a girl in the parking lot. I've always been a bad criminal. I've always got caught, right? And then got booted out of there. Yeah, that was at Kaiser Hospital. And then the judge, we were still trying to keep me out. My lawyer, he was like, "Sit down." And you know what he said? You know what that judge said? He said that what I believe I have here is a career criminal in the making. My wife doesn't own a brand new Jeep Cherokee or something like that. And he said, "How do you tell a kid who's used to that kind of money, to stop?" You know what I mean? This is what he was saying in open court. And it was offensive that he was calling me a career criminal. The dude had me pegged dead to right. He had me pegged dead to right. As a matter of fact, I got busted every time when I got busted in Catalina and I got out on bond, I went straight to the dope man's house and got more dope that day. How did this go from what did I eat to all this? I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, where did I go? I know better than to start any issue with those dudes. It's automatically the ABs. People, there was a long time in prison, not easy to let go. Yeah. Robert Rosso been in trouble since I don't know when. Robert Rosso in trouble now, and I know somehow Robert Rosso found trouble again. Yeah, that was a song. So what song is that? I've been in trouble since I don't know when. I've been in trouble. That's Bad Company. Robert Rosso don't drive no big black car. Robert Rosso don't like no Hollywood movie star. Okay, all right, all right. I hate those predator catcher YouTube shows because all of them are about views, not helping kids. 1 to 2 are really about helping. Most of them are just view change. Wow, that's a good perspective for sure. Did they take the weights out of the feds? There's still some places with weights. Butner one still has weights. Terre Haute, I'm not sure. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call from there today. I guess you can't call now, but yeah, I got a phone call from there. Supposed to call back. Chicky had it tough. Had one son killed and the other shot and maimed. He still is everywhere around Philly. Really? Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that he was an old man. Is it the same? There's 2 chickies out of there, I think. Hey, man, I'm a man child myself, so don't feel bad. They're good things, but bad things. I'm 39 on 25. Subs or methadone definitely help with the cravings and most definitely will help you sleep like a baby. Yeah, but they also make me blow up if I do them. Tommy would tell white guys, okay, Tommy would tell white power guys, move or I'll punch you. Most, if not all, moved. He was in jail again, in state jail. People asked why he had a report. I told them I'm a bit nutty like him. Wait. People asked why we had okay. Did he really, huh? Yeah. Okay. Hold on. So Tommy Stutter, is it the same one or not? It's a different one. It's got to be, right? I was on methadone for 41 years. Wow, 41 years. So there's people that say stuff about it, mess with your bones and all this other stuff. Did you find anything like that? What's up, Eon? How you doing, bud? Glad you popped up. It's too bad Arkansas is not legal marijuana state, as weed helps massively with sleeping at night, eating, calming anxiety. So they don't really care about weed back here right now. And I was around somebody who smokes weed every day up until here recently. And I really came close to going the marijuana route. The problem is I'll wake and bake. It will become more. I don't use anything small. I don't. I try to, and I can do it for a while. I absolutely can. It would be easier for me if I was to have more control, if I was like on probation or parole and not getting in trouble. If so, even in the beginning when I started using in 21 or whatever, it was like once a week, but I did drink. They allowed me to drink. It wasn't part of my restrictions. So the alcohol, it was alcohol first, And by the way, tonight I went to dinner and they ordered drinks. And for a half a second, because one of them said a Jack and Coke, it was like, there was a jolt. But yeah, anyway. That was my mom and my sister, by the way. I was on it for 10, quit pain pills in 2000, used methadone until 24 and slowly tapered off. Right on. Everyone in Lewisburg could pick a pair of handcuffs in under 10 seconds with government issued pin. Rob, that was random, but did you go down to 1 milligram? That was random, Rob. But so what we did as gang members, as dirty white boys, so we used to steal handcuff keys. And the way we did handcuffs, the way we did that is we would go to rec. When you come back from rec, they're supposed to escort you and hold your hand one at a time, right? I was out the window at Leavenworth back in the day. So let's say 5 of us were in a rec cage and we're all in the same range. Well, we would go, so there'd be like 2 cops or a cop bringing all of us, which is, again, against policy, but policy was whatever. So we would then have like this clip to the pin right here, and you take it off and you can sharpen it down. That slides in between the keys. Now, if they have it locked, if they lock it like they're supposed to, it's different, but they rarely ever did that, okay? So we would walk, as we were walking, somebody would be behind me and I would get the little clip that I had in my mouth. Oh, yeah. So what I would do is I'd pop it and then I'd put it in my fingers when they handcuff me, and then I'd slide them. So we got down, I can do it in 3 seconds. That's what me and my bro Dusty, that was a thing. So we would bring them in the cell and practice. We'd keep these handcuffs. Then they would find out the handcuffs were missing, and we'd hold them hostage sometimes. And we'd make them give us tobacco for the handcuffs back because they'd get in trouble for it. Yeah, it was a big thing. We used to love doing that. Great, Mr. Yeah, and smoke hash. I am 58 smoke every day. Chicky Chang is still alive. Got into a fist fight a few months at a bar when someone jerk off put his hands on his daughter. Wow, okay. Is it the same one? I wonder. How do you highlight names like that? Few months ago, the ABs ran out of gas. Oh, that was a DWB lyrics. Eon, that's funny. There was a dude, I don't know, Eon, do you know a guy who out of Detroit by the name of Sam Riddle? He knew Michael Moore really well. He was what was the mayor? What was his name? Anyway, Riddle was hooked up in that. I forgot what he went down for, but he was on, this dude was like a big media person. And I did an interview with him when I was in Butner 2. And that interview, man, that came on the heels of Bernie Madoff's interview. And I got like big views off that one on my website. But, I met a really cool reporter that I've kept in contact with from the DC area. But when I asked him what happened to the Motor City, because he's from Detroit, that's what he said. Motor City ran out of gas. That's what he said. It's funny. It's beyond ironic Arnold is who removed the weight pile from C prisons. Hold on. Oh, okay. No pins have weights. Okay, no pins in the Bureau of Prisons. So there's still FCIs, and I don't know if Terre Haute does. Like I said, I know Butner does. I think Texarkana, which is a low. Butner Camp, I know does still. So if you guys don't know, though, people make weight bags in prison out of sand or dirt. Matter of fact, Joey Testa had a really good weight setup at Butner too. You know, they get like a broom handle, put it on both ends. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's what you're saying. Just get creative. Yeah, there you go. So I'll tell you what we did in Building 63 when we got locked up in there. Well, even in the shoe, I had a bro, No-Nose is what his name was, Rick Brown. I did a video about him a long time ago, by the way. Go back and check it out. Rick Brown, I think it's a no-nose shot caller. I forgot. Was a guy from Oregon, complete nut job too. He ended up getting X'd out for various reasons. He was a Golden Gloves boxer in Oregon State Prison. I think they had that whole, well, he on the street, but then he boxed in Oregon State Prison. I think they had a boxing thing going on there. But he would make the baddest heavy bags out of mattress cover. You rip the mattress cover because they're like vinyl or like flat, whatever. And then you get books, and then you wrap the books, which sucks because in the hole, people are looking for books. You're stealing all these books off the book cart, which is kind of a scumbag move. So they take the books, wrap them in a blanket, and then wrap that around. It was just like a heavy bag. And I celled with him, and it was like mandatory workout with him to box. 3-minute rounds on the bag, dude. So I started doing that. I've got a bag out here. I have not done that yet, but before I went in last time, I started doing that even when I was high or drunk, and just for the hell of it. Maybe that's why I went back to prison like half cocked. I was half cocked this time. It was like I was a kid playing prison again. It was the strangest thing, but I know where it came from. It came from feeling like I had my balls cut off for so many years, and that's not a slight because I was in a relationship and communication was everything. Like the mob guys, okay? Like the model, I was not a model inmate, but I was walking that line. Yeah, I used, but I was like, I didn't do like just before I didn't care if I got caught with anything. I didn't care. But so there was times like I did a video about my cellie calling me a bitch and me not doing anything. That was when my mom or Marta, somebody was there visiting me and they were coming back the next day. So he took advantage of that. But there was like things that like, there was times when then I know that violence was necessary and I didn't do it, and it made me feel like a biatch. It did. So I think that aggression came out. So this time it was like, whatever, you know. It was weird for real. I was like an old man trying to be a kid, or I don't know. John was one of all. Okay, I got you. Do you know Kazi from Philly? Did you guys do any time with his son John? Not that I know of. Okay, it was Tommy Stoddard. Yeah, I know who he was. And he had a girl in. Tommy had a girl in Colorado. I'm 90% positive. Rob, how often they take drug tests in prison? It depends. They have policy where it's random drug testing. And the way that really is supposed to work is your name comes up on a computer database based out of Central or region. And then they call names off a list. I have seen guys get hit on randoms back to back. But I will say this. I think that the staff, I know the staff, they'll put people on a random list. So if they want to nail you, they can get you for, if you're a gang member, they can get you for a drop every month just based on being a gang member. I forgot what they call it. Then there's the prior use. So if you've used drugs and been caught within 2 years, you will get tested monthly and random sometimes. And if you're in a gang, 3 times. Okay, so that happened to me. But then I've seen guys that didn't get hit for 6 years or better. So it all, I don't know how they do the random thing or if it's really random. I don't know, but that's the policy on it. By the way, I beat the policy on this before because there's a list, okay? And there's a supplement. Eon, you can check this out. Maybe it was an institutional supplement, but there's a supplement on this. What happened was when their names came off the list in order, they were supposed to go get the guys and actually test them by there. I forgot how I came upon it. Oh, I think an SIS cop. So there was an SIS dude by the name of Nevels. Shout out Nevels at Butner FCI 1. He quit being SIS because he said it was too much bullshit. And he then went to Butner 2. I was at Butner 2. I got hit for a dirty. And I was fighting for this, okay? Because that was when I started going clear conduct mode. And I fight shots. And I became really good at appeals. I will brag about this. I was a beast at beating appeals on the first level. I hit like over 30 shots I had flipped on phone shots during COVID and stuff. They came to me like basically asking me to stop. But Neville's, I think, is the one that got me hit. He's retired now. I almost stopped and said I didn't want to put him out there. He's retired. But he got me hip to this because he was telling me about policy and I used him as a staff rep. I'm sorry, I didn't put that part. So if you get in trouble in prison and you go to a disciplinary, you can use what's called a staff rep. The staff rep is basically there to know your rights, but the way you actually really use staff reps properly, if you really want to beat the case and if you really got an argument, is you write a statement on the issue, okay? And then you don't talk to the DHO officer. You submit the statement. They hate that because they cannot question you. They try to, but you don't have to talk. If you've got a good staff rep, they know this. And that is the way to really, really beat DHO if you can. You know, that's the way to do it, man. You write a statement and you shut up. Or better yet, you don't even go to the hearing. You have your staff rep go for you. They get furious over that shit, but you can do it. It's part of policy. I got hip to that. Anyway, what were we talking about? Glasses back on. Facts on the cuffs. There you go. I learned that at 16. So Eon has to really come on this show sometime. This is dude, he runs the channel DC Blacks, okay? And he was in Lorton, I'm almost positive, when he was 16. So this dude's great. That'll be great. We got to do that like soon instead of me talking about it. Were you expecting to be released, or was your compassion release unexpected? I couldn't imagine the natural high of pure elation after being released after 20 years. I knew that I had a great shot, okay? But what ended up happening is he sat on it for a year. I later found out at my hearing that there was 6 or 7 prosecutors in the office around a table. I think that's how he explained it. This is the prosecutor now. And they basically all said, do we want this guy out? 6 of them said no. 1 of them said yes. And that was the prosecutor that was part of my case this time. And the dude said that he didn't want me to have any paper. No paper whatsoever. The judge, of course, didn't go for that. But I knew when the prosecutor came back with their response, that it was half-ass. And I was like, oh my God, I could, it even encouraged me more, but then it took so long. The day that I found out that I got released, we were on COVID, we were locked down, and they kept messing with the schedule. So they would let us out and let us go to the yard, and they'd lock us back down where we couldn't get out but for 10 minutes. We hadn't been out in a minute, and the phones were becoming a real problem. And there was this new kid that came in from, young black kid that came in from St. Louis, and he's probably 18, 19, right? And at that time, there was like 6 of them that came in that were real young. And those kids didn't give a fuck about elders, politics. These dudes were young and dumb. And did he cut me? I forgot what happened, but I was chomping at the bit to use the phone. And we bumped each other. And I think I told him something about excuse me. I said something and he popped back like he didn't give a F. He didn't care. And we were just getting ready to go. I was like, something else was going on with me at the time. I don't know what it was. And right when that happened, they yelled, Rosso, Mrs. I can't believe I forgot her name. Wants to see you, the unit manager. And I walked downstairs and I'm fuming because I'm like, okay, me and this dude are going to fight. Like it's got to happen. I wasn't even going to go to his people about it. You know, I was just so heated. It was like, it's one of those things, you know. By the way, you're supposed to go to, typically, especially when it comes to races, you try to politic it out, or you go say something and tell them what happened if you want a one-on-one or whatever, okay? I walked down there. I can't believe I can't remember her name right now. And she's sweet as hell. She said, come in and close the door. I said, I'm not closing the door because I didn't want to be with staff one-on-one. And she said, close the door. And I closed it, and she goes, you got a phone call. And it threw me off, and she pushed the button. And her name is Mrs. Boo. That's her name. She was my former case manager. She said, Rosso, she says, a judge out of the Western District of Arkansas just reduced your sentence to 25 years. And in my brain, again, I'm coming off of like gonna fight to reduce to 25 years. Like I never expected that. I expected you're getting out. But he reduced the sentence. He came up with some little creative bullshit. And my brain couldn't compute it for a second. And then when it did, it wasn't I passed out, but I had to like catch the desk, and then I sat down. And then I was just stuck. You know, it was like emotional. And I just remember saying, I gotta call Marta, you know. And I was just, so I didn't know if I was going to get out that day. So it was after 5 o'clock. Then she said, I will come in early tomorrow and I'll get this done. And I knew I was leaving. And then I had all my stuff, I brought a bunch of stuff home. I've got bags, legal work and manuscripts and all that. And I gave all my stuff away that was like remotes, like all the cool stuff. And right when I'm walking out, they're calling me. These two, I think it was one of the dudes from St. Louis and maybe Chicago or something. It was like that's another thing, that those areas, like they're supposed to work it out too. Young kids start blasting each other at the door. We all get locked down. So I had to sit in the cell, in an empty cell with no mattress, no nothing, just me and my thoughts, no radio, for like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. Anyway, that's what happened. I was just thinking the same thing before you said it. Ran out of gas, needs all oil changed. Damn, you are right, Rocco. I was just thinking of John. We'd roll our mattress up and tie them in sheets. Oh, so Rob, random's in the words. This dude right here was a workout beast. We we used to kid him because he worked out by himself, and we're like, what are you actually doing? And they're like, we used to play with them. Him and another dude, Phil Prescott, were workout fanatics after lunch. They'd lock themselves, close themselves in cell and work out. They tried to work out for a while, but Phil's difficult to work out with, right, Rob? And he'd go up there and just beat the shit out of stuff. He'd come out pouring sweat, listening to Rush Limbaugh. Did you ever do time with Philly guys, Black Italian, etc.? Okay, free game. Right on. Hello, sir. Told you so. What's up? Little County 214. He went back in 2010 over gas grenade, but was known for burning down motel rooms. Who are you referring to now? It's because I'm sorry, because I get on a one. I'm not sure who you're talking about. You never should have had life to begin unless your El Chapo drug charges shouldn't land you life. Absolutely. I mean, 100%. I got life because I wouldn't tell, period. So I always say they offered me 2 years. It wasn't the prosecutor. They came, it was the Postal Service inspector, who, by the way, have huge juice. My dumb ass didn't know that. So it's like Secret Service, CIA, Postal Service. They're like way up there. I said, what do you have to do to become a Postal Service? Flunk out of the FBI? I was cracking jokes, and I gave myself a life sentence. I made them hate me. And I'd never been like that with law enforcement before. But I was like, I got belligerent, like stupid with them. And I was also stupid with my attorneys. I was stupid. I was on meth in the jail. I was getting meth brought in. And so I'm high. I'm learning the law. I thought I was like F.E. Bailey, Johnny Cochran, all rolled up in one. And I had these law books that were talking to me and telling me, and telling everybody else. I had the whole jail like not going to, they weren't doing plea bargains. This is in the county jail. Dude, they hated me, the prosecutor and the state. I had these guys that were giving sweetheart plea bargains, and I tell them, no, don't do it. We got to flood the system. This is the problem. We're all taking deals. I was whacked the fuck out, you know? And on that note, I screwed somebody's life up over this shit, over thinking I was a jailhouse lawyer when I wasn't. There was a dude, I'll never forget his name. His name was George Bunn. He was a crackhead from Indiana in Fort Smith. People, if crack ever comes back, don't be a crackhead in Fort Smith. Be a crackhead in California, where you can get like a ball for $20. Arkansas, they gave pinky nails for 20, okay? So this poor bastard comes from Indiana, down here visiting somebody, and they're crackheads. They run out. So they decide to rob a pizza guy. The pizza guy like pees on himself. So they decide to take it further and then kidnap him, not just take the money from him, then get in his car and drive him to a liquor store, I think, to buy cigarettes and just some dumb crackhead shit. Him and his buddy get arrested. George and his fall partner, they get arrested, and they're offered 20 years, like kidnapping, rob, like all this crazy stuff over robbing a pizza dude. They stole the pizza, but they want them and the money too. Somebody was hungry. I don't know. I don't know who. But I, in my mind, am a professional lawyer. I'm not even a jailhouse lawyer by this time. I am a lawyer with like 90 billion years of experience in my mind. So I had beat, let me explain this. I was arrested at a state level, okay? The feds were there, but I was on state parole. That was all bogus. It was an illegal search. But anyway, so the state had my case as the feds were investigating. Then I had a petition to revoke a suspended sentence over my head in Arkansas, which is automatic, okay? It's a preponderance of the evidence standard. That means you go in front of the judge and the judge decides, did you do it or not? In my case, there was a marijuana charge. There's some pot. And then, of course, so 2 pounds were in that package, actually. So there's packages in the mail. There was 2 pounds in the package that got hit. By the way, I didn't have any idea the package was coming. My wife was trading meth for crack to her baby daddy, former baby daddy, G Money. He testified against me too. Yes, 1 pound of meth for an ounce of crack is what she was doing behind my back. Okay, so she ordered the package. Long story. So how did I get there? So they arrest me. Oh, I go to jail. I have the PTR, petition to revoke, over my head, and I have a parole violation out of California. I'm not worried about the parole. Got $1 million bond. So what happens is the people in California, by the way, sent an attorney my way who I had to pay for. Wanted to make sure I wasn't telling her whatever. So he comes in. He can't practice in the state of Arkansas. This dude's name was Priamos. Priamos was that one. Peter Priamos. Okay. Anyway, he can't practice in the state of Arkansas. Okay. So what he did was he had to get a local attorney, Tim Morrison, who was the former prosecutor out of Benton County, right up here, or Fayetteville, Washington County, or Benton, whatever. So I had to retain 2 attorneys in the beginning, okay? Plus the one, my mom got arrested in my case. Mama Dukes went down over me because she lied during the course of investigation. So when I got arrested, they brought my mom and my wife in. And my poor mom, she even got a parking ticket in her life. It's not funny. It's not funny. She caught a case over it, but she didn't go to jail. So what happens is I hire these attorneys, and the first red flag. So my mom's attorney was also a good friend of mine, and he was representing me, my wife, and my mom at one time. You can't do that. It's a conflict. We knew that. But he was trying to like plea bargain it out. We used to get high together. His name was Eddie. We got into a beef, a big fight, because I wanted to hire a guy named Pirtle, who was a Supreme Court justice out of Arkansas, who was 80. But he was like 80, okay? Eddie didn't want to work with Pirtle. So we got into a fight. He snorted coke out of a girl's ass in the hotel room with me, okay? So we're tight. We're past tight. We're tight, okay? Brought 2 girls back from a strip club, and we went nuts. So this dude, we get in a fight. He pushes the table at me. There's cops walking by. He pushed the table, and I slung folders at him, right? So that's one attorney, 10 grand. Priamos comes in 17.5, Morrison's 10,000. This is what's invested, right? This is within 2 weeks. So Priamos comes to me right before my petition to revoke hearing, okay? That was first, because that automatically gets me 20 years. I had like a 20 over my head. I forgot what it was. Arkansas is bad about that. They'll give you like 40 years and you do 10, and you do like 1 off 10. So I had and then the way it works is, if let's say I get 10 years with 20 years suspended, okay? So let's say I'm 20 years old. That sentence doesn't come off me until I'm like 50 or 30, whatever. Yeah. So you do the time, and you still got those 20 years over your head, and that's day for day until you're that age. So they can actually give you, so let's say you violate, you got a year left, they could give you a year. So at the time, I still had like 20 years over. I had a long time over my head. So I have the PTR first, forget about the parole hearing, and then the case, 2 cases. Feds were coming, the state had it. Priamos comes to me and he tells me, damn, should be a video too. He tells me this. He says, listen, what's up? Okay. God damn, this is such a long, I'm going backwards now. He comes to me. The first thing that happened was I had my own money, and I had my money buried. You guys want to hear this? So I had over $100,000 buried in my yard, okay? I didn't want my old man to pay for shit, because they paid for so much money in my legal stuff in the past. So I tell this dude, he wants 40 grand. He needs bullets. That's how he used it. And this is what he told me. He said, I have friends in Washington. Fuck these little hicks back here. He talks so greasy about people from California, they think Arkansas are mutts, you know? So he's like, screw these hicks. He's like, I have friends, and this is what we'll do if you're game. I will get you out of prison, and I will tell them that you are working for the DEA. We'll move you back to California, where I have a professional informant on my payroll. You will do nothing. You will not have to tell on nobody. He will do the work, and you will get the credit. Now, this has happened. People have heard about this, where guys have been in prison and they get somebody else to do bus for them. This is the first time, but I didn't even, till right now, think about it, that was what he was saying. I had to call my wife in at the time. She wasn't ever my wife, man, but whatever. We were married, okay? I had to call her in to like, you're part of this too at the time. What's up? She's like, it's on you. So I'm like, how much is this going to cost? He said, I need 40 for some bullets, 40 grand for some bullets. I said, okay, I've got the money in the yard. And he goes, what? And I said, by the way, I want my Corvettes. They took my Corvettes. They're confiscated. I want the Corvettes. 76, 78, 84, 81. There's 5 altogether. They took 3. The other ones got taken. So they took some other cars, but I wanted the vets for whatever reason. Okay. Because I was an idiot. And I want the vet. He laughed about that. And I said, okay, is this going to walk me? He goes like, well, my dumb ass told him I have a $109,000 stash. So he says, where's it at? And I said, well, it's in the yard. I got a map for you. So I told him where it was. This dude comes back to the jail. I wrote it down for him where everything's at. This is that many feet. This is buried this deep. It's right here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. They get my father and they tell my father whatever, because he had to go to the grand jury. I know what he said at the grand jury. They tell my father whatever. They get a tractor, my dad's tractor, rolls the tractor out to the 20 minutes from here, whatever. And they start digging on the property. They can't find it. In the middle of the night, this dude comes back at 11 o'clock at night in a suit covered in mud, both of these attorneys. And they're pissed. They think I'm lying. They don't know what. They were messing up. And I was telling them, do you know that they had watched that all on camera? And they said that they had watched me give this dude a map that a cop walking by, they were watching it on camera. It was bullshit. So Priamos, they didn't find the money, okay? Then the feds got like a warrant, if I remember correctly, for so many days to dig up my property, okay? And I did say something to somebody in the jail, and somebody, I didn't say about the amount. I knew a couple people. I was watching what I said, but again, there was arrogance about me. 27, I had a huge case for Arkansas. I was the first person to get life back here, okay? At the West, for drug conspiracy at a federal level. So, Priamos, they don't find the money. He comes back in. He gets paid, not the 40. We didn't fully agree to it. He comes back and he wants me to file a waiver, sign a piece of paper saying that they're going to push my continuance off. And I'm like, no, I mean my PTR off, because they have 60 days to bring you or it's dead. Okay. So I'm reading these law books because I'm a lawyer, okay? And I'm telling these dudes, no, they don't have the evidence from the lab, man. I can beat this. They brought me up. So they wanted me to, they were mad because I would not sign off and say that they can do a continuance. The prosecutor's not allowed to get a continuance on a PTR in Arkansas. I read this. So what happens is, Priamos can't make it in. Morrison shows up for my PTR hearing. He gets up and I said, Your Honor, I want to represent myself. And they're like, what? And I said, according to statute, and I blame it out, Arkansas Penal Code, you guys are past the statute of limitations. This is the 61st day. And there was like immediate huddle, a lot of squawking, and then they dropped the PTR. They decided to drop it. Okay, we withdraw. I beat their asses. Okay, so I come back victory boy. Everybody in the jail knows now. Okay, I did it myself. Then I go up for a parole hearing. I decided to tell California, hey, what's up? How come you guys didn't come got me? They haven't even had a hearing on it. I go to the parole hearing and I beat the parole hearing. Now I got $1 million bond over my head and I can make this bond, okay? I know a bondsman. I don't even have to give him money at this time. We were like that. So, I mean, I needed to pay him when I got out, 10%. So, 100 grand. So I called the bonds person that I know and she tells me, I can pick you up, but I'm in Little Rock, or I can send so-and-so. But if you want me to pick you up, go out to dinner. And she had a friend. And so I'm like, I'll wait for you. Here comes the feds with the indictment. So I almost wasted that money and got out. Okay, so moral of the story I'm trying to get into. How many comments? Okay, not many. Moral of the story is this. I am now 2 for 2. In the jail, I became big shit, okay? So people were coming to me for advice. I would snort a line. That's what I did. I'd snort a line and I'd give advice. It's just the Arkansas code. We're going to search and seizures. All this other crazy shit. And George Bunn, let's get back to poor old George. George is sitting in jail for over a year. Little Indiana crackhead guy. They come to him and his co-defendant and they say, hey, we'll give you guys, take a 10-year deal. A 10 with 30, I think. So they wanted that over his head thing. Arkansas's huge about stacking time over your head, like I said. So George comes to me and I'm like, dude, they don't have shit, George. Don't take 10. They came at you because they don't have nothing, George. Stand tall, you know. A couple days later, hey man, my co-defendant's taking the deal and now they're telling me he's willing to testify against me, but they just offered me 7. See what I'm talking about, George? They don't have nothing. Yeah, but my co-defendant, he doesn't mean nothing. So I had this dude withdraw counsel, represent himself. He couldn't even barely read, represent himself, and file all these frivolous motions. I wrote motions for him saying that he wanted a suit from like this big company up here. It was such BS, okay? I was stacking. I mean, on so many people. I'm wearing out the court clerk at this time. So here comes George, representing himself now. But I had him ask for co-counsel. They have the evidence. They have a tape of him in the store with the victim, all right? You can clearly see. He had a tattoo right here. I don't think you can see the tattoo. It is George. Okay, there's George. Guilty. And I look at it. Oh, they let me go. By the way, they let me go with him to watch this tape. Who was on? I think the sergeant was Fuller or whatever. They let me go with this dude. I watch it and I'm like, he's like, dude, what am I going to do now? I'm like, George, all you got to do is cut your hair, bro. He had long hair. Just cut your hair. They'll never be able to tell. Do you know they came back and offered this poor SOB 2 years, 20 with 18 suspended, okay? This dude kidnapped somebody. That is the sweetheart deal of a lifetime. They knew he was going to bail state, so they wanted to give him 20 with 10 is what it was. George, do you really want that conviction on your record? Come on, George. He went to trial. Blue trial. 20 years. Gave him 20 years. Then I call him back because I sued the jail. The jail had me hit. The staff had me hit by 5 dudes altogether. There was a little bit more, but at the end of the day, they were paying 2 guys a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken on a Sunday to do it. Rodney Gist and Little Eddie. I ain't even mad at them to this day. What it is. They wore me out. I got jumped. I got beat, but I fought back. My head was this big when it was done. They broke my face, broke my eardrum. I got fucked up. Staff, like I said, staff did this all, had this done. And a jailer told me, who's now working up there, by the way, he was a bigwig in the jail. He told me about it. He was a rookie. And I was able to file the case based on that and represented myself and screwed up at trial. Actually, there was a hearing before trial. I screwed up because the magistrate, I painted all the dots on what happened, but I needed to say where I got the information from. I forgot what it is. I should go back and get those transcripts now. That'd be good content too. I wouldn't out the jailer. I wouldn't snitch on the jailer. I liked him. You know, he was he was a rookie. And I wouldn't rat the jailer out. And I lost that case. But George came back. I subpoenaed him for that trial. And he came back from, he was having a bad time down at Bricky too. But he wasn't like even mad for real. You know, I would have been pissed, you know. But poor George, he brought me a bunch of cigarettes and we were in the holding tank and I brought cigarettes back and I got busted with tobacco. I forgot what happened. But the marshals are like, dude, you got enough problems going on. Oh, I had weed too. We smoked the weed in the court. I didn't get caught with the weed. I forgot. No, I didn't get caught with the weed. It was tobacco. I know that. But yeah, he hooked me up even after all that. But man, moral of the story: jailhouse lawyers on meth could be dangerous. Okay, kids. All right. George Martirano got a life sentence and served 30 for dealing weed. Yeah, you missed my comment about Brian. Hold on, let me back up. Okay, Rob, I don't see anything about Brian. Hold on, buddy. Everyone in Lewisburg could pick off handcuffs. Okay, not there. It's not here, Rob. We'd roll up our mattress and tie them with sheets. Okay, come on. No, I don't see a comment about Brian. F. Lee Bailey, blast from the past, represented by Boston Strangler, I believe. Damn, Rob, you weave more than Trump. Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I did talk him into it. I also had, like I said, I had so many dudes in the jail that were holding off on plea bargains because they were all going to go to trial, and their attorneys were going nuts, saying, "Don't listen to that whack job in there. He's about to get life." Yeah. Maybe that's why I got life, huh? Some of the karma. I always thought, what did I do so bad to get this life? By the way, I want to clean this up. So what ends up happening is I ended up hiring 5 attorneys and firing them before I got the right one. 4. I was in between attorneys. I thought it was an attorney visit because that's what they told me. I walk in and there's 5 Postal Service, Postal Inspector, Sebastian County, Sheriff. So there's like 4 or 5 different law enforcement heads. And they told me that they just completed the investigation in California. And I walked in and I said, "What's this? This is an attorney visit." And they said, they wanted to talk to us. I said, "Man, I'm not talking to these dudes." And I turned around and they said, "Mr. Rosso, we just want to tell you one thing. We just got back from California. We completed our investigation in California and we're done with this. And you're going to be indicted." That's right before that was like a day or 2 before the parole hearing that I beat, I told you about. And they had my attention because everybody in California disconnected or wouldn't answer my calls. And these were people that I grew up with. Okay. My co-conspirators out there, the big drug dealers, were all girls. One of them was married to somebody, but they were girls that were mailing packages. Okay. That was my entire case. It was drugs coming in the mail. But what happened is the Connect, and I put that in, she didn't mail nothing. We had other girls that we grew up with did. And these are girls that we so I knew her from grade school, Catholic school, and then we were in high school together. So the girls, there was like five of them that were mailing. They were getting $500 for every package they mailed. So they were lining up to mail these packages, right? And it was like wide open in my whole town. I had people calling me from San Pedro saying, "Dude, I heard you're rolling out there. What's up? I can put you down." No, I'm good. So that's how like loose it was. I didn't know nothing about a conspiracy law. I knew nothing whatsoever. But during that conversation, when the cops were in the room with me, they said that they completed the investigation in California and they're here to offer me a deal. And I said, "And what would that be?" They said 17. It was 17 years at the beginning. 17 years. No. They said that through an attorney, I believe, first. But what came out that I remember the most was 5 years in a state to where the drugs came from or going to. So from California, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Louisiana, basically, okay? Or 5 years in a federal prison camp. And I said, "No, I'm good." And then Michael Bates, which was a state cop, said, "What about if you got 2 years and you stayed here?" And I was already there over a year. "What if you got 2 years? Not over a year. But anyway, what if you got 2 years and you did your time right here? Basically waited out till they get indicted, me go testify against the grand jury." And that's when I said, "Check it out. You guys said you were going to go out and have dinner after you're done, right?" That's what they said. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, well, check it out. When you guys are out to dinner, have some drinks on me. And when you're done, get a hotel room F each other in the you know what. That's what I said. I showed them. I showed them. They showed me. They showed me. Do you feel bad for getting them guys time? No. I did. I did. I did. When George came back, I was pretty bummed. Yeah. Like I said, he didn't. He wasn't. He wasn't like a convict. He wasn't like a punk, but he was passive. He was just. I think he was stupefied, or he was just kind of. You know, he did. So on 20 at that time, I think I forgot the class felony they gave him. I know that I had a friend who had somebody in that jury that said that they felt sorry for him. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, but then of course, different times in my life, I felt bad. I don't know where he's at today, so maybe that would make it like, let's say somebody said that something happened to him in prison, or but that was. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just He asked me if I knew a Philly guys. I told him my Sally Bryan was from Philly. He beat up that block dump. Oh, I didn't see that comment, Rob. Yeah, it's not showing up in the comments. That's what he's saying. The biggest P2P dealer in Philly was H Block with me. He had OD'd inside. So you're saying the P2P dealer. So one of the biggest cooks out of Philly back in the day was Nick the chemist, Nick the Greek, they called him too. I forgot his name. And that was one of the guys that Nick Geo, actually. They thought it was Stanford had him hit, but it was actually Nick Geo. Just trying, this guy out in Chicago, wannabe mobster. You walk in this guy's single cell, and his books were lined up with mob books. What a clown, huh? Somebody asked me if there's mob fanboys in prison. Absolutely, there was a mob fanboy in prison, Nick Geo, who's doing life sentence right now in the state. Because, and I've been corrected on this before because I did a video about him. The Sixth Family. That is one of the better stories. Go look at The Sixth Family if you guys get a chance, okay? That's an old one, and I wrote a story about that was posted on several blogs. But Nick Geo was some really delusional kid out of Chicago, Greek, whose father was tied in with the outfit or whatever. They used to do business in the back store. Nick apparently overheard that they wanted this guy. This guy was a rat. So Nick took it on his own accord to go kill him and did it with the high school friend and then shot him and said, that's how we do it in the outfit. The friend like ran to the... somebody emailed me and told me that I had the story mostly right and then corrected me. I forgot. It's been some years. I probably still have the email. But delusional as hell. This guy's delusional as hell. And he got hit by the Dirty White Boys and cut by the Dirty White Boys. And but Nick the chemist was supposed to be one of the bigger cooks. I used to mail pain pills all back in the day at USPS. Just depending, I'd open up stuffed animals, sew it back and mail it. So that was good back in the day. What did you put around it? So that's the important stuff. So mail is that's there's so many people using the mail stream. I don't want to say it on. There's a way to wrap it that bounce. Yo, good night, everybody. I have to go. Okay, my stupid. David, what's up? That was an honest answer. Don't apologize for it. Oh, okay, no problem. I hear you. There was a kid, Stephen, sure I spelled that wrong. Cheeky said nobody in Philly could believe a kid that was young was moving that much. I hear you. Do you remember when Brian beat up Sonny in F Block? Brian who? Brian. Well, I don't know if I was there. Was that the dude that used to hang around Tommy Reynolds? I wasn't there during that. And I don't remember who Sonny was, Rob. It's not ringing a bell. If you want to elaborate on that. George Monterano got a life sentence and served. Okay. So Brian and yeah, those names don't ring a bell right now, to be honest. And who did what? Somebody just did something. Right. Anyway. So I was waiting to see. My goofy little guy, Brian, glasses from Philly. Oh, okay. I know Brian. You're talking about the dude that had 70 years with the bulletproof, Rob Banks with the bulletproof jacket on or bulletproof vest. Correct? From Philly. Was he from Philly? Is that? Yeah, glasses from Philly. Sonny lived on the first floor. Um, so I don't remember Brian ever being an F block. So that must have been before. I just put them in a small bag and tape around it. 1 or 200 paint pills took up no room, and all the stuff in the teddy bear would be around it. I never had an issue with it. Yeah. So I don't know about the detection of pills. So I'll tell you what I have used. When I used to bring Coke back in a suitcase back in the day, I would always wrap it in bounce dryer sheets. And then around the bounce dryer sheets, we put saran wrap because the saran wrap withholds the smell of the bounce. And when they'd had a dog sniff it, it did not alert. Then the packages that were coming through in 97 was the same thing. And really what it would be is just drugs in a box. There was no disguising it. There was no hiding it. Drugs in a box, okay? So you open the box and there's just, shitloads of tape. They went crazy with the tape. But it was 1 to 5 pounds and or a couple keys, just depending if it's coke or meth or whatever. And so the trick was in the bounce, the saran wrap, the bounce. That's what it was. So I don't know, that's 100 years ago. I know they're getting more mail detections and all that. Which I've watched here, then the borders and all that. But, then there's other ways to get around it. And, I know other things they're doing. I don't want to bust guys out for that right now. Sorry for everything, Jonathan. Okay. Okay, yep. What's the worst thing violence-wise you've seen? I've been asked that before, and there's been so many. Okay, one of the things that stands out, there was a guy in A block, and I was in B block. So this was 2007. Was it 7? So why would I be in B? I was in D for a second, so I was in FD. I think I was in B block, and it was 2007. There was a guy there. He was a real nutter. He came out of Marion, and he would go on the yard. I think he was PC'd up at Marion. Marion had like a protective custody wing, from what I understand too. And he didn't want to. He wanted to be by himself in a single cell, from what I understand. And then he was in A block, and he said that his cellie was jerking off, and it was a big fat dude, kind of a lame. This guy stood out of the way, from what I remember, and this dude stabbed this guy. I don't know how many stab wounds, but I saw him when they hit the deuces. That means they called body alarm. That means they called all the staff. When they hit the deuces and they brought this dude to the door, he was raining. There was blood raining all out of his body. And that dude lived. And there was the amounts of blood. So that he was like halfway down the range in A range, and he came running and screaming to the front door, beating on the door. I heard the screaming and the body alarm, and the cops were like, they wouldn't touch him because he was raining blood. It was so crazy and gruesome, and I cannot believe that guy made it, But as far as that would have to be like the scene that sticks in my head the most. That would have to be it. I do remember that when the Texas was a Syndicate of Aztecas. I forgot. That was like my first couple months in prison. They hit the Latin Kings, the Texas dudes, whatever one. I think they were Aztecas. And they had a coordinated hit at 9 o'clock when pill call rang. And they did it in every unit. And we were drinking that night. We were drunk, and you can see something. You can see Mexicans running into the Mexican TV room, and then you can see other Mexicans leave, and dudes all balled up, and then you can see them going like this. And they were taping knives to their hand. A bunch of them, like 10, like a bunch, okay? And there wasn't very many Latin Kings in our block. The shot caller, if I remember correctly, was Panama, and he was an A3, and he got, they couldn't believe he lived either. I think he got hella flighted out or hella, whatever it's called. But nobody died in this either. But this, I seen a dude jump off a tier. So they ran into the Latin King's room, which was at the end of on second tier and B block, back by the Mexican TV room. The first cell, as a matter of fact, it was the first cell in the corner. So between the white and the white TV room was in the middle, the Mexicans to the right. And there was like 3 guys in that room, I think. And there was like, I forgot how many Mexican dudes ran in on them, but they just started butchering them, you know. One of them makes it out. And there's some other Mexican dude, Charlie Brown, who walked with the cane and a limp. And this dude's screaming, ah, and he's running. And we're drinking. We're on the range. We kind of move so he can run by. And we're just like, I think we were laughing. It was like, whoa, dude, you know, like that. And all of a sudden, this dude just running, and he sees another guy coming his way. And he just went, oh, and over the tier, just jumped. It was like, and we're like, oh, shit. And when he fell, he broke something, did something. I talked about this before. And Charlie cruised down. The dude was like crawling. And this dude just walks down with this grin, like this crazy look on his face. Gets on him. He's crawling. Gets on his back with his knee and just starts. He didn't have his knife tape. He got tired. He got tired of stabbing this dude. He was like exhausted. That dude lived. So it's so crazy. And then you see these one hits, like with the Guamanian dude on the yard, New Mexico dudes. The first shot to the chest hit his heart. He was dead. He was gone. He was dead. And yeah, that was crazy. That was nuts. Okay, he was my cellie in 2008 when I got released. Oh, okay, all right. Might have already left. Yeah, I was gone January 27th, 2007. The day I left, they came and said, Rosso, roll it up. Hold on a minute, sir. I have to go to the bathroom. Because, man, I had to really put drugs in my vein. So I had to do a shot. Hold on, I got to do a shot. Yeah. Good night, bro. David Crazy. There was a guy in Lewisburg that got hit in the chow hall, staggered over, and died just inside the chow hall. They threw a sheet over him and kept running chow. Did they? Did they really? I remember, Rob, I don't know if you remember when I got there, I hit that dude, Jimmy Couch. And that's not a big victory. It was like 50 and small and out of shape and everything else. But I've been trailing him for a couple of days, and the chow hall was actually empty. It was the last 2 people. It was me, No-Nos, and this dude. And I was by myself. Of course, it was. I got him from my friend Swivel. And I remember I went to punch this dude in the back of the head. Not a good move. Don't hit people in the back of the head. You hurt your hand. And I hit him in the back, but I slipped when I did it because it was wet. It was right where you put the dishes in, and I slipped. And I hit him. He staggered. I slipped. And then I got mad because I slipped. And then I grabbed him. And then I got him to where I wanted. And then there's a video about this called Captain Clay Saves the Day. Back in the day, I've got that. Go check that one out. I'm pimping out my videos, right? Captain Clay, a woman with big breastises jumped on me and pinned me down. And I remember her saying, "Are you good?" And her breasts are on me. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good." It's called Captain Clay Saves the Day is the video. Captain Clay saves the day. I never had the nerve to do this, but my friends would drive to LA for meth coke, go into Mexico and walk back across the drugs. I never risked that, didn't have the nerve. I had some dealings in Mexico where I did bring stuff across the border. Border Patrol guy was on the tape. I was 18. And brought parrots, and brought parrots, coke, parrots, and weed. They fired the LT over it. Did they? Over that, the sheet. Very neat. I didn't know Strupit's mom was wrong. I hope, I didn't know that, and I hope everything's fine. I hope everything's fine with your mom, bro. If you still hear this. I didn't know anything about it. Breastises. Yeah. Okay, hold on. There's Lonnie. I knew Lonnie would pop up. Lonnie, you just need to email me, bro, for real. Yeah, it's late, and I've been on 2 hours, so we'll see. Rob, a wonderful show as always. Thanks to Truth. Huge fan of prison attack stories. Thank you. Lonnie, you might want to go back and listen to some of that violent stuff. Prison violence stuff, by the way. Rob, which is the strongest state in the feds? You know, it depends on the yard. It depends on the yard because, you know, what happens is, like, people talk about the DC dudes, right? And I said it the other night. The DC dudes had a lot in numbers, but they were divided within themselves. And Eon even, like, gave me my props for putting that out there like that. So, you know, you can say, well, who, Rob? New York had the numbers, I guess you'd say, or was it Boston guys? It depends on the prison. You can't just say one state across the whole feds, you know? Maybe if somebody said something to me and sparked something, it would make, but it would be hard for me to say that. 99% of attacks, I wouldn't say 99, but a lot of them, and they should be. The goal is to win. It's not to fight like a man. It's not, forget that. That's dumb shit. The goal is to win. You win at any cost. There's no honor in it. You just win. That's what it comes down to. Thank you, and you're right. There's no stranger love than there's no stronger stronger love than the love you have for your mother. Thank you, Rob. Everyone, thank you for your kind words. No problem, bro. And I didn't know, and I'm sorry. And yeah, I hope everything works out. You know, look, I some of you that have been following me know I had a big falling out with my family right after my dad died, and it included my mom. And I didn't talk to my mom for over a year. I just went out to dinner with her tonight, and she is 85, going to be 86 here shortly. Still driving, a little forgetful, but I mean, and I told her tonight, Mom, you know, 85. You know what I mean? But my point is, actually tonight, it did dawn on me, like, you know, this isn't forever. I'm very fortunate, and I do hope that she sees me be somewhat successful, and that doesn't mean riches. That just means getting it all together. You know what I mean? I do want her to see that. My dad wasn't able, and he actually, in his dying days, said he didn't think I could make it. He didn't know if I was going to make it, meaning go back to prison or not. He was right. Problems with dad in relationship, but he was my dad. I love him. But yeah, man. So I hope everything works out. And, you know, yeah, I'm trying to get emotional. Go back and listen to what? All of it. All of it, Lonnie. And watch the commercials. Because but I won't be commercialized. There's no way there's no way they're going to monetize this. Have you ever met? So donate if you can, please. I had to throw that in. I never say that. Have you ever met a white guy that rode with Serranos or the Emmy? Yes. Who off the top of my head? I'm trying to think. I can't think of a name at this moment, but yes, I've met him, and yes, in California, I've seen him in prison. The white guys really in California. Somebody can argue with me if they want. Like the brand or the guys back in the days, they all basically modeled their looks off Mexicans. The handlebar mustache and the big brush or the way they walk and talk. What's up, Holmes? Just the whole demeanor, about it. It's true. Did Carmine Persico ever regret? Lonnie, I can honestly say this. The thing that I remember Carmine saying that he regretted the most was not having further education. It's specifically words, vocabulary. He wished that he said words are the most important thing and matter. And he said that he regrets not furthering schooling. That was the one thing that he said that I remember him saying he regretted. He would never be the type of person that said he'd ever regret the life of crime. Never would that come out of Carmine's mouth. Plus, that family did well. They lived high on the hog, So I mean, they have like a beautiful. They didn't have him, but he provided. Can say whatever you want about how he got it and what happened. He provided, and from where I stood, because you never know, because I don't know the family, looked like they had a pretty strong family unit. I know the ones that there was a problem with, and I don't want to do that. But there was somebody that he couldn't forgive for whatever reason that maybe he did later on. I'm not sure, but he was proud of his family being together and would get bummed when he found out that they'd go to the farm because they had that big farm in upstate New York. When he found out certain kids didn't go, he'd be pissed. But he always said that kids, they're great until they're like 12 or 13, then they don't want to be around the family no more. If it was up to Carmine Persico, let me be clear about this. Carmine Persico wanted all his family close and together. He had dreams about the entire family living on that farm. All of them. All of them. That's the way and if he got out, that's what he said that he would want to go up to the farm. That's where he wanted to be. And he got mad when they put salt water in the pool. One of the sons, I think Michael, had that pool, they had a big pool turned to salt water. And also, he deliberately built a pool far from the house so that everybody wouldn't be running back and forth to the house, so the family would go as a unit and stay up there. I remember him saying that. So I guess the pool is a ways away. Yeah, but that's what his biggest regret was the education stuff. Yeah, that's what it was. So the strength. So it just varies. I've seen where the Serranos didn't have very many people. At Terre Haute, there was like 10. Now, when you're talking about strongest, it's not. I say the Emmy. I know people hate when I say that. The Mexican Mafia are probably the strongest gang because of their reach and because they can use Serranos to reach. That's my opinion, and other people have said the same. Lonnie looking for more material for his movie. Yeah, no, I'm down for Lonnie doing that. Lonnie, I hope it's a big movie, and I hope you don't remember. And you can, when you're famous and rich, you say, I got a lot of my tips from Robert Rosso, Convict Inc. Pimp. Why did Carmine Persico get Kool-Aid poured on him? What was the response to that? Carmine had a table. He was the only person that had a table at Butner One. The only person. There were some people that would sit in certain areas, but the staff did not allow people to have their own table, so to speak, except for Carmine. Um, it just was, okay? There was a kid from DC. He was younger. He worked in the chow hall, and he used to sit at that table during his shift. So he was like a dishwasher or something. So when the main line, when chow runs, it's called main line, when main line runs, he would be sitting at that table. So when Carmine would come in, and he wouldn't get up, and he knew that it bothered Carmine, so Carmine would make little like, you're still here, something. So the kid did it more to provoke him and thought of it as a joke. Well, one day we go in there, and the kid's got all his friends there. So there's four black dudes from DC at this table, and Carmine, that table was control. Okay, the table was everything. So like at 10 o'clock, he would start looking for the guys that worked. Look, for example, for lunch, 10 o'clock. So lunch would start running, 10:45, 11 o'clock, whatever, and then last for an hour to get all the units, something like that. So Stevie Milakis worked on the yard. A junior Matisco who ended up had a bad case later, we found out. I think Chucky might have. There's people that worked on compound that were able to get into the chow hall first. Those guys would go hold down the table. So it was Carmine's table, but Butner had a rotating population. I think the average stay was like 18 months if you take the institution as a whole. 600 people, small yard. So new guys would come in. They didn't know that this table was taken, and or somebody's table, so to speak. So Carmine was always just so, we got to save the table. Somebody's got to get to the table. And it was a pain in the ass. It sucked because you might have to wait there for an hour sometimes and tell people they can't sit there. And it's like, dudes look at you like you're crazy. Some people buck back and say, I'm sitting here, whatever. So this particular day, they're all sitting there. Carmine's food anxiety. He had food anxiety really bad. And he's watching. And that kid was watching. He knew. And again, Carmine was starting to get very disrespectful to him. He really was. There were some things he would say sometimes like, like I remember him saying, what do? You want him to sit back here and jerk off looking at the women? And it was like disrespectful stuff, and it was getting to be a little bit more. So they're eating and they're not done with their meal. Now, the kid even said, like, we're just going to finish right here. Like we're almost done. They weren't like lollygagging and intense. They were not done really. So Carmine sits. So here's a table and it's in the corner. The next table, Carmine sits and he doesn't sit at the table. He turns his back. So he's waiting. It's like they know he's waiting. So then Carmine said something like, you almost done it. And the dude said, damn, Carmine, or something like that. And when he got up, I don't know what was said. Maybe if I ever had Chucky on again, because I think Chucky was the closest. And the kid gets up I'm trying to think. I don't know if he went to slap him or I think he was pushing him or something. I forgot how it went. The kid turned around and threw Kool-Aid on him. And Carmine was stuck for a minute. And then Chucky came and punched the guy or however it went down. It wasn't like a big fight right then. In the yard, it became a situation. They took Carmine. They were locking him up. I ran to his cell to protect the cell. I'm very sensitive about property. A lot of times when people get locked up, vultures will come and try to start taking property out of people. That's okay if the person's a check-in or they have a bad case, okay? I'm down for it. If the person checks in, steal all their shit. I don't care. If you know that they're no good is what I'm saying. So I immediately go back to make sure, I forgot who was a seller, to make sure I think Carmine and Chucky both might have been, and I think they were locking them both up. So I was going to go tell the CO to secure the door, lock their door so nobody goes and takes property or something like that. That's usually what you do. Or you go sit in their cell, whatever. They were locking Carmine up, and Carmine ended up saying, look, there's going to be more problems unless you let me stay out. Okay, I don't really think there would have been, but whatever. It worked. I think Chucky got locked up over it. But they let Carmine back out. And he came back and he's like, I got to get that. He wasn't going to let this go. And it's me a dude named Robert that was a Norteño. I think he was high ranking. I forgot who he was. Now, he almost died, I think, at Coleman. He was there for medical reasons. He had a shit bag, and he walked with like a dragging, like a hunchback on. It was a hell of a crew we were going out there with. So it's Carmine, me, him, Stevie was end up being out there. Who brought the knives? It's all right. Doesn't matter. And like there were a couple other people, and like 12 DC dudes walk out there. And Carmine. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is all bad. This is all bad. And Rob said, hey bro, you good? Like you ready to go? Like I'm like he's telling me I'm serious, we'll go. And I'm looking at him like, damn, is this gonna happen at Butner 1 for real? Stevie rushed in, got the knife, boom. And Carmine and the kid went to like over here, and Carmine's like talking blah 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 and whatever, like he's on this dude. And I don't even remember why. The dude even said, he's like, Carmine, look at what you got and look at what I got. You know what I mean? And now he didn't know that we were strapped, and I highly doubt that those dudes were. And that could have went very, very bad, because when you get somebody, Rob gave me that look, okay? And when somebody's like, it's game time. And it gave me the chills a little bit, because I know that this dude, just by talking to him, I don't know anybody that knows him, but I can tell this guy will puncture something. This guy will do something. So my heart was not into that, because Carmine was in the wrong, but that's my dude, But in that moment, when I saw that dude, it was like, oh, okay. Because now I'm all in. I'm all in, So this is what's going to happen. So now I'm looking at who's the biggest, my brain's really like, okay, which one? All right, there's so many of them, this, that. They're not going to expect this. Okay, who do I hit? Where do I hit him at? These are my thoughts going through my head. And then I don't know how they resolved the issue. I know the kid. If you guys Gangland, go to. I think the guy who wrote that article actually wasn't Jerry Capisci. It was Frank Morocco, and I think Frank named all the players in that. Nobody knew that Frank did an article. So a dude there that hated Carmine, Frank Morocco from Buffalo. I've had him on the show before. He's in jail right now, from what I understand. Frank and Carmine. Carmine did have no respect for Frank whatsoever. He thought he was an institutional rat at Lompoc. But I'm not saying he was. Carmine just had something. He said something, but he didn't like him because he was from Buffalo, and because he was Italian, but he would look like half a biker. And Carmine didn't like long hair or goatees, for that matter. But Frank Morocco wrote the article to embarrass Carmine. He later told me this. This is like 2 years later or something. But I think he named the kid in there. The DC kid goes back and knows Frank and said, hey, man, you think this dude will do something to my family on the street? And Frank told him, like, no, it's past that. Carmine was in there like muttering like he wanted to have something done. But it wasn't, he was just venting. He didn't like, I'm going to call so-and-so. It was nothing like that. Because, I'm going to find out where their family lived by tomorrow. Like, stuff like that. He was venting. With your mother, because that's what I'm trying to do now. All right. Thank you, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Have a good night. How were you able to get a single cell for the last 10 years for your time in the pen? It's called manipulation, my friend. It's called manipulation. Plain and simple. I got bladder cancer. I'll give up the gig. I'll give up the gig here and now. I have bladder cancer. I have recurring bladder cancer. There were times after surgeries for my bladder, I'd come back and it really, really, when you got tumors removed and you have to pee, it hurts. It burns for some days afterwards. So first of all, you got a rod stuck up you, you know, and then you got tumors removed from your bladder, and the blood afterward, it really, it's like piss and fire. It really is for some days. So, you know, I'd have to sit down on the toilet. And then it started with one celly. So where did it actually start? So let me be clear. In the shoe back in Leavenworth, I started playing the lifer card. I don't give an F. You put anybody in this cell, I'm hitting them. I don't care who it is. Brothers, sisters, I don't care who it is. That's what I told the staff. So once I was committed, even though I didn't want to, I had to stand on it. So when they took somebody off, a new guy comes in off the bus, good guy. I talked about slipping my handcuffs earlier. As soon as they came in, what they do is when you come in a cell in the shoe, they will tell you, cuff up. So I'm in the cell by myself. I got to go to the front door. I turn around, I cuff up. You got a celly coming. And I said, I do. I said, I told you guys, you got a celly coming. Okay, all right. My thing, walk around. Here comes a dude. What's up, bro? Walked up. He still had his hands cuffed behind his back. Bam! Laid him out. Didn't knock him out, laid him. And he's like, what the fuck? I just said, sorry about your luck, bro. Sorry about your luck. That's exactly what I said. Sorry about your luck. So in the shoe, at that point, they put no celly. Don't sell anybody with this guy. Except one time, I was doing the same thing. I was back on a different shoot thing, and a dude named Robert Rasnick, aka Head, one of my brothers, and Scott Tolley, who I talked about, were in a cell together, and Scott's a bad drunk. They were getting drunk every day, and all the time, a lot. I'm not going to say every day. And Head was from Fort Myers and had 3 sisters who married brothers that were all big in the dope game. They were Mexican. Okay. Scott is a super racist. Head did not like that his sisters married Mexican, but they sent him big money, so he was fine with it. He was fine with it. Keep sending me money. No way. All right. Anyway. What was I gonna say? So Head and Scott get in a fight one night. And it is over the fact that Scott pops up and says, your sisters are made racial things. And he got Head's photographs of his sisters. And he started ripping the photos of these Mexican loving, you know what. And Head did not want to. Head was a strong beast of a kid. Wow, this dude was tough. Okay. And he laid Scott out. So he didn't want to sell with them. So the shoe lieutenant comes to me late at night and says, I got a problem. You got to sell it. No, I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to take any of my brothers. I don't care. No. He told me what happened. I'm like, oof. No, I'm standing my ground. He said, hold on a minute. He came back with a carton of Bugler, and said, take him until Monday. It's Friday night. This is yours. I promise you he'll be out Monday. Come on with it. So now let me get to how I stayed. Now the single cell started at Terre Haute, and I had a bladder surgery. And I came back and said that I was peeing in my bed and that it was causing problems in the cell with me. And it would have if I did pee the bed. Now, there was a few times when I leaked and had to wear pads. There was some times, okay, after surgeries. So it's incontinence. So then you go to medical staff and then psychology. And we put no celly. How about that? Anyway, good shit with your mom thriving, bro. Your channel is one video away from blowing up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Was you in Lewisburg with Bomba? Was their national leader for the Latin Kings really polite, respectful? I don't remember that name, Rob. The Latin Kings I remember is Alex, our neighbor, Fat Alex. Basic. Yeah, there's a bunch, but I don't remember that. No, Tommy didn't. I never even knew Tommy lived in Japan at the time that I was around Tommy. I never even knew that. I do. No, he did, but we didn't. Like I didn't ask and elaborate. I didn't. There's nothing that stands out in my head. I could have at the time, but nothing that stands out. You know what I mean? Were you ever on a co-ed prison yard and women? Ha. So, actually, in a co-ed prison, no. The girl I married the second time, Barbara. I just hate calling it. That was never a wife. But anyway, the girl I married the second time was in Little Tucker in Arkansas. Tucker was a big prison. Little Tucker. It was men, and then they made it a co-ed prison in the state. Girls in one barracks, guys in the other barracks. Now they separated them, but they worked together in the chow halls and other ways, and were banging through the bars in center corridor. So she got knocked up in prison. 2020 came in and did an investigation. I never even looked that up. And I think 22 girls came up pregnant in 90 days. She was one of them, and she had the baby, by the way. But I was not. I do know, actually, he just died, a guy named Terry Parnell. He was in Lexington when it was co-ed. He met, I think, 2 wives there. They used to let him walk and hold hands and everything at Lexington at one time. What was Carmine's food anxiety like? What was his behavior like when it came up? Oh my God. Rock back and forth sometimes. He'd watch the microwave. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Robert, how much fun? He'd walk in and out of the cell. I was cooking the spaghetti. So we have a stinger. A stinger is makes, you know what a stinger is? I don't know how. So stingers in prison. Are stingers a thing on the street? Is that a real thing? I don't even know. You get a regular extension cord for something. You splice the wire, tie the ends on something like a plate from a electrical outlet, like the cover. Take the cover off a light switch or something. You break that plate in half, and that's my best way. It works as a heating element. You drop it in water, plug it in, and it heats it up. I held the stinger because I was a low man on the totem pole. Joey held it before me. Joey held it until Joey left most of the time because they never shook Joey's cell down ever. Joey is the biggest OCD person in the world. Labels had to be front. All labels had to be. Everything had to be in order. And they never touched his locker because he'd have a fit. So I would be in there. Let's say, okay, al dente is fine, 7 to 8 minutes. You cook let's say you're cooking spaghetti and it's 9 minutes. Al dente is 7 to 8, okay? I would go for I'd try to make it 8 minutes. I've had Carmine come in the cell and make me pull it out. 5 minutes. Could not, had to eat. It was nuts, man. I wish Kazi would come on here sometime. I haven't talked to him since I've been out. I know he would never do it. But if he sees it, he's laughing his ass off right now. It was so wild. Also, so I've seen him make a pizza. We used to have little make pizza kits when we had the microwaves. He made a pizza. There's a line in the microwave, okay? And so when there's a line, people put food on top of the microwaves. They're waiting their turn, okay? Sometimes a person comes out, let's say they're on for 2 minutes, but they take their bowl out in 1 minute and 30 seconds. And the person that's waiting is over here. There's a line of people, and Carmine beelined and put his food in. This is all bad. You're not supposed to do this in prison, okay? And I got in a fight with the cellie over it. Did we punt? Oh, I pulled the razor blade out on him, and that's when he stopped. We went into the shower, and I was angry because I was angry at Carmine, not at the kid. Carmine was in the wrong. Carmine was in the wrong a lot of times. But food anxiety, you couldn't believe it. You'd have to see it. But I mean, rocking back, the mouth, kept teeth in until he ate when he ate, he took his teeth out. But, excuse me. But yeah, it's crazy food anxiety. That's what it was like. That's what it was like. How do you protect your property from being stolen in prison? Your sound is on point. So I figured out a little thing. I still haven't found a mic, so I'm going to answer your question, Lonnie. The sound he said is on point. It's better. So every time I plug this mic in, the thing pops up and says go to something hub, and because there's an update and it'll affect your sound system to improve your sound. I don't know how to get there. There's no tab. I don't know what to do. So, but I found that don't do the cancellation of the echo, the background noise. That's what's been working now. Lonnie, how do you protect your property from being stolen? Don't be a bitch. Don't be a punk. So, by the way, locks on lockers, they're decoration ornaments. They're ornaments. They're just decorations. All you need to got to do is get a broom handle, pop them, and they'll pop right open. Okay. So locks are dead. So one of the things in prison, and this is kind of tough guy shit, kind of gang stuff, is you never have a lock. I never had a lock. Okay. Because I dare you to come steal my shit. You know, that was like the attitude. Dude, you got a lock on your locker? That's like pussy stuff. That's what it was looked at like. So, I mean, there was times I never even had a lock for like a long time, but I'd keep one. They're good to have for fighting sometimes, whatever. But how do you keep your properties? If somebody wants to get it, they can sneak and get it if they want to. Just like I said, they can pop your locker. If they know you'll do something, they'll think twice. That does not mean that somebody still cannot come and get your stuff, even if they know, because they might try you. It depends on the prison, depends on the environment in the prison. There's a lot of factors. But again, it goes back to put your prison face on. It doesn't mean like just seriousness. And people watch and see how you carry yourself. People watch and see. There will be people in the right prison that will snatch the commissary bag out of your hand. That happened in the ADC all the time to people, Arkansas. By letting people know that by letting people know that So there he's responding to you. Rob, what's a good way to sleep at night after waking up in the middle of the night listening to YouTube? What's a good way? Okay, what's a good way to go to sleep at night after waking up in the middle? I just do it until I just do it so I don't have alcohol or drugs to put me back to bed. So I stay up. So a common thing, and it's happened in the last couple, I just stay up until I know I'm going to go to bed. The normal thing is some hours. Like a couple nights ago, I got up at 1, and it was 5 a.m. when I decided to lay back down. You know, that's what happens. Rob, very neat. What is Carmine's problem? He's no longer with us. Why does he care about another man's? Carmine. A lot of the Italian dudes are anti-goatee or facial hair. Yeah, a lot of them were. I think that just comes from, I don't know. And Frank did have a weird mullet type of stuff, and he was gray. And, but Carmine just didn't like him. But yeah, so all my life, what I usually did was, before I started, I usually grow goatee. Not anymore, but my common thing was to grow goatee for a month, shave, let it grow back, shave. So I did that a lot. And they always say, why are you growing that thing? They did. Carmine the Snake. Benny, thank you. I appreciate it. Pissy Pants. Yeah. Well, look, you ever see my compassionate release plan? It talks all about pissing pants. Is Danbury still co-ed? That's where Tim Allen did his time after ratting on everybody. I'm not sure. And Roy, thank you too. Got to match Benny. Thank you, man. Thank both of you guys. That's what I'll be making tonight, because YouTube's not going to do this, but it is what it is. Can you do reaction videos? Wes Watson has a lot of material for content. Yeah, but a lot of people do it on reaction to, you're saying reaction to other people's videos? Okay. I watched Larry Lawrence channel. Interesting. He called SA a crime of violence. It's not about sex. Okay, so sex offense. Okay. Okay, let me say that again. He called so sex offense, I think that's what you're saying, sex offense, a crime of violence. It's not about sex. So yeah, so I've seen psychologists talk about that. It's about power. Um, there have been guys that have went into people's bedrooms and did something to girls, but they didn't get scared, so they couldn't get an erection. So I get what he's saying. I don't know if that's true in every case, but I get what he's saying. He's coming from a clinical point of view for that. Just recent release from Danbury. Yeah. Have you ever known of cellmates killing each other? It's not normal, but yes, they do, and they're having more of a problem. Jesus, Mark, dude, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that, so look, honestly, that's like a big donation. Okay. I had some, I've had people in the past, especially when I was talking trash about Jimmy and all this stuff back in the day, these crazy donations will come up. I do thank you. And I always say until things change, and things are changing in my life, that like $50 right to me is, I used to say 5,000. It's not 5,000 equivalent, but it is equivalent to 500 in my life right now. I live very, very frugal. Yeah, but it's getting better. And things, stuff like that, people like you help out. That's the God's honest truth. So it's not normal for cellmates to keep, to kill each other. No, it's not. Does it happen? Yes. Two men living in a bathroom together gets to be a problem. Thanks, Randy. So you're saying this time slot's the best? We're like all losers. We don't have nothing to do. We're old, right? How did you get food out of the kitchen? You sneak it. So you put it in your underwear. You walk out with it in your hand. There's different ways. So Leavenworth did shake down out of the chow hall a lot. Leavenworth was crazy. So they'd shake everybody coming down out of the chow, but the kitchen workers would come back with trash bags full of fried chicken. Chicken day was huge, okay? Also, the biggest seller of the most high demand stuff to sell, I'd probably say chicken first. But what was it before? Pork. Take pork out of the chow and sell it to the Muslims. Eon, if you're there, I'm sorry. It was huge. They were all undercover pork eaters. Not all. That's not true. There were so many undercover pork eaters that were Muslim. It's the truth. But there was a guy named Rico, a.k.a. Smear, a.k.a. Samir, a.k.a. Hustle Man from Virginia, who was doing a life sentence for 2 kilos of cake mix. Cake mix, a life sentence. Could not believe that he got a life sentence for cake mix, who was selling it to an undercover cop as cocaine. That didn't matter because the sale was for cocaine. A life sentence for 2 kilos of cake mix. He goes to prison and he gets busted with a trash bag full of, walking down the hall. So this is how they do it. So you're coming down the hallway and you got 4 or 5 guys from the kitchen workers and they block. So you're watching the staff. You got to see guys are maneuvering. You know who's using the hallway. And guys would block each other, sling the bag over their shoulder and put a coat over their bag. Okay? That's one of the ways. And walk. They busted Hustle Man 3 times in 3 weeks. Do you know what this lady did? Her name was Miss Ferreter. She was a DHO, disciplinary hearing officer. She looked like a lady that drove a dump truck, okay? And she ended up becoming the fire instructor at Glencoe, by the way. She was a royal, she gave me 5 years, phone, commissary, and visitation restrictions on my first dirty urine. 5 years across the board with the life sentence, okay? She gave this dude 25 years, commissary, visit, and phone restriction. 25 years. He wrote the Kansas City Star, NAACP. This dude wrote everybody, filed on it. Do you know it stuck? It is way beyond anything that the Federal Bureau of Prisons offers as a sanction. 25 years they gave this dude. Now, what ended up happening is there was a program called it was like a step down program they started for repeat shoe offenders, guys that kept going to the hole, caught with knives, too many dirty urines, whatever. It was called the KC Model Program in the beginning. It started at Leavenworth and it became something else in the Bureau of Prisons, different institutions. But he ended up being able, you can go through that class, and if you graduate, you can get your stuff knocked down. It took him some like 3 years or whatever. Also, sometimes when you get transferred to another joint, they'll kill the restrictions sometimes. Everybody that went to Butner back in the day, if you go to the hospital, any restrictions you have came off. They started new, okay? But Mark, again, I want to thank you for that, bro. Thank you, seriously. Lonnie, you are getting some great info for your movie. How about a super chat donation? Nah, it's okay. I appreciate it. Did Carmine Persico ever talk about the people he unalived? Oh, shit. I'm still on YouTube doing a live right now. Here, you can turn it on and watch. Okay. Did he ever talk about the people? He talked about the Gallo thing for sure. Laughed about it. How they were caught. I can't remember right now. I can't say yes or I can't say no. And I know that might sound like, but it might sound like, what? How can you not know a Carmine? I wish one of the other guys were here right now and they can, what I was talking about, the guys that I did time with there. I'm sure he did with Stevie, because Stevie was from New York. He did get along good with, he's Greek, but a lot of Italian guys. Pot dealer with the gun. And he knew a lot of those guys in that life. And they traded papers. So they would talk back and forth. And he did talk to Steve. It's like he opened up and told him intimate stuff, but he talked to Stevie quite a bit. Rob, were you given a hard time about your goatee by Carmine? Not a hard time, but like I said, he was, you got a goatee. What do you put that shit on your face for? When you recently went back to prison, you said you politic with them. Okay. You said you politic with the Mexicans to get a bottom bunk. What was the conversation? Like, did they give you any grief about it? No. So the dude's name was Clown, and he was a Sereno living in Arkansas, older, like 50. So he'd done time in California. I came in, first thing I said, and let me tell you, this is not the last time. So I got violated in 23. I did like almost 90 days in the county jail. Then I got violated. I did the 14 months in prison, and they killed my paper. No more paper. But I'm talking about, I just came back from Texas, New Mexico, Mexico, whatever you want to say. And I turned myself in, and I'd been up for days, not just on drugs, but on drugs. I was dirty for every single drug ever. Fentanyl, meth, coke, weed, Xanax. And I think heroin, I was dirty. There was nothing I was clean for, okay? And I walked in. I knew I was getting ready to cry. I was sick. Just disgusted. And I knew I was going to be down sleeping for a minute. Depression, all kinds of stuff. So I walk in, I said, hey, who's got this? I think it was Lonnie. Anyway, so he comes up. I said, I need a bed. He says, bro, look at this place. So he didn't go try to get one of the younger guys. So I just went, put a mattress on the floor, laid down. One of the meals, a Mexican dude finds out. I see him and I said, you from California? He said, yeah. And I said, my name's Rob. And he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "The Harbor area." He's like, "San Pedro, I got people in Long Beach." He's like, and I'm like, "Dude, what do you guys got going over here? What do you guys got going for bunk space?" He goes, "You need a bed, homie?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I got you." I told this kid to get up off the bunk. And that's how I did it. And so the white guys were I got along. I mean, I was fine with them, but I got that spot, and I did break bread, so to speak, with the Mexican dudes. I don't think I even had any meal. I didn't think I did any spreads with the white guys there, but that's like California bullshit. No, nobody's ever snatched commissary. I never did it. And it could have easily happened in Arkansas. I would have fought, you know. I knew that enough of that by now. Excellent, Mark. Yankees are allowing players to facial hair now. Yeah, I heard about that. Did you ever hear of guys inside having guys outside? Okay, hold on, Benny. Hold on. Did you ever hear of guys inside having guys outside going to CO house? I know what you're saying. I never knew that. No, not me. I can't say that. No. Ralphie Santana used to take my cake off my plate every time we had cake, but he was like 80, so I let him get away with it. You know what was one of the craziest things? Oh, man. It depended on where I was in my life, how many so it used to be, it was I'd do 45 minutes straight. So that's when I was in the sub by myself, I always did 45 minutes. I would love to tell you I did sets of 50 all the time. It was more, I can do sets of 50. Well, now, I actually have, so 20, 25, 25 at a time. Normally, if I was with somebody else, I would step it up. You know, that's the show off shit or just trying to keep up. I don't ever remember us doing sets of 50. I do remember 40 for some reason. And I think that was with my bro Dusty when we were in the shoe. He was a push-up beast. Do you know when I started doing push-ups? It was when I went to the hole in Leavenworth. And I'm telling you, I started off, I was in the cell by myself, and it wasn't because I was trying to be. I was just in the cell by myself for a few days. And I remember literally getting down and like doing 3 push-ups. Then the next day I got to doing 10, but I did like 5 sets of 10. And then every day I just increased it. And then it was just became natural. And then I would do squats, whatever, just, you know, down in calisthenics and jumping jacks. So jumping jacks, toe touches, that kind of the stuff I did in football workouts as a kid, you know, without weights. And I had back surgery as a kid. I did the weight thing at Lewisburg, did have weights when I got there. I did it for 3 weeks and screwed my back up. They always said it was an excuse. I didn't want to do it. That's half-assed true. You know what I didn't like about the weight pile? The crowds. I didn't like the crowds. By the way, speaking of crowds, I had a panic attack tonight in a restaurant. I haven't had one in a minute. It was weird, but it didn't last very long. Doug Ross, what's up, bro? Pain Like Maine, what's up? Hey, Rob, Doug Ross. Doug Ross gifted a membership. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. Late night tonight. Yeah, I'm just on William Wallace. I've been on almost 3 hours. It is that, yeah. You should write a book. Did you get life when you were 19? You ran, then got the life charge, went on the run from the motel? No, told you so. No. So when I was 19, you watched the video, thank you. Go back and watch the video, guys. That's monetized. The one I put out today. So no, 19 was busted in California. Then I got out, did the county time. Then I got violated, but I didn't go to jail. I ran. Matter of fact, the day that I got my 4th dirty, it was in front of everybody. He had like a meeting that day, and he tried to get me to say that I was lying. I told him that it was my asthma inhaler did it. That's why I popped dirty for cocaine or something. He's like, that doesn't happen. Just say you did it, and you're not going to go to jail. And I would not confess. I would not do it. He picks up the phone and calls and says, hey, I got one coming up. She was locking me up right then. They just ran the chain. So it was in the Long Beach courthouse. That's where I had to go. They had holding tank there that then brought them to the LA County Jail. They just left, or I would have been locked up that day. Instead, he said, man, don't even come in no more. Just be waiting at home. Wait in the mail. You're going to get a court date in the mail. I stayed in that same house, man, for like 3 or 4 months. It was next door to a sheriff's station, to Lomita Sheriff's Station. And then I moved down to Lomita further, stayed there about a year, then moved to Arkansas, then got busted in Arkansas. Arkansas, again, lawyer and the judge knew each other. I got time in Arkansas. It got run concurrent with my California time. I didn't do enough time in Arkansas, so California put a warrant on me to finish my time. In other words, you do 2 years on California time. I had actually was going to serve a year in Arkansas by the time it was over with. And then when it came up for me to be released, California put a warrant on me, but not a governor's warrant. Arkansas and California did not cooperate with each other very nicely back then. I don't know how it is now. Arkansas hates California, and California lawyers and stuff hate Arkansas. But they weren't one of the sister states, I guess you'd call it. So I had to go from prison in Arkansas back to the county jail for a hot check charge that I wrote, and my wife closed the account off. It was not a hot check. It was some accident. But I still had to go back and face that. So they brought me back to the county jail, and there I went for the hot check, which got paid and dropped. It got paid and dropped, I think. And they then gave me a fugitive bond, and I bonded out. Then I went back on a violation in Arkansas. My ex-wife swears she didn't do it, or her boyfriend or her boyfriend's brother. Somebody actually put drugs in my car, in my organizer, $20 of a substance believed to be methamphetamine. When I dropped my kid off in the daycare, boom, cops got me. I go back on a violation for that. By the way, took a polygraph test on that. Came up inconclusive. Not lying, inconclusive. But during that parole revocation hearing, we used it as a discovery process. We called everybody that we would have called for trial, and the prosecutor backed up and said, okay, there's something wrong with this case. This dude's for real. It didn't make sense for me to go from getting busted 9 ounces a kilo, which I didn't get busted with a kilo. I got busted with a kilo, but Arkansas reported 4 ounces. They stole it all, the cops. True shit. Then, how many thousands of dollars? 7, whatever, 10, whatever thousand, whatever I had in my car. They never even reported that. So then, I got that violation. California put a warrant again. They gave me another fugitive bond. And from May of 1994, 95 until 94. Shit, I forgot now. I was like, in a 6-month period, I got pulled over for speeding. And every time I got pulled over for speeding, it was in a different county who doesn't honor the fugitive bonds for that. I had to make a fugitive bond every single time. $5,000, every single time. There's $50,000. I had to put $5,000 up every time. And then California came and got me. They got a governor's warrant finally, 5 years after the fact. Went to California and did the 16 months or whatever it was. Then I came out, went to work in a sawmill for minimum wage for 2 months, and started rolling. Started the conspiracy that got me the life sentence. That's what happened. How do we get your subs and viewers up? You have great content. So let me tell you something about that. I have a mixed channel. I have prison content people, and I have mob content people. The mob content people, a lot of them are currently mad. So if you notice, like the video I did today, you can look at the views. The views are low, okay? But I'm not going to stop because of that. And the ones that get the most views are the drama, or if I'm saying something, or the AB ones, which I'm going to do a lot more. There's AB stuff coming up left and right, different ones. Universal Aryan Brotherhood. That's like really, I've been talking about this for a while, buddy Parker. But there's going to be stuff on that. So there's going to be brand stuff. That stuff gets the YouTube stuff. The addiction and recovery stuff I talked about, which it's coming. I can't get it. If you guys knew how much of my day I wasted about this, you guys would just go, what the fuck? So that gets lower views, but that's what my passion is about. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. That video that I did about Kenny, my bro that got murdered, that thing, it was like, it was close to as viral as I got. I don't know how, it was crazy. And I got almost 200 subs. Man, it was nuts. And the monetization, I think it was like 200 and something dollars off that, right? It's I never expected that. I did a short the other day that got 1,000 within an hour. I don't even know what the hell it was. So it's crazy. I think that there's things about thumbnails still. These thumbnails I'm learning how to do from I'm still on YouTube, but I'm interested. Where? Question mark. Doing sets of 20. Okay. Mr. Ross, first time I went to prison. How much? Yeah. Damn it. What did I say? I got lost because what? Damn, I forgot. Oh, I was talking about the sub. So you asked. Yeah, it's just the thumbnails I'm learning how to do, and it's on CapCut. And there's so much I got to learn about it still. All I know is there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things to push, retouch, auto enhancement. I don't know what any of that means. I know what photo editor is, how to add a photo. Well, you can see. You can just look at my thumbnails. I don't have OG Mike doing them for me anymore like I did. But he would, but I'm just trying to figure it out. Doing sets of 50 creates results. Yes. I know. The snake turned on the gallows. Screwed them over. Yes, he did. Where it's dips push-ups at. Whether it's dips push-ups. Yes, 50s. I hear what you're saying. Rob, I don't have Cash App or anything, but I'll make one tomorrow and shoot you something if you post your Cash App in the regular comments after the show. I know you got to wait to get paid for YouTube. Mark, you're absolutely right. My Cash App is on the channel. It's no more prison cell. But you're saying Cash App in the regular comments after the show. Regular comments after the show. So on this video, so post like, okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, I will. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I've stopped on and off. Okay. I walked in prison a lot. That's the only thing I did, consistency. Why stop after? So even while I did start working out during COVID in my cell quite a bit, but I'd go a long time without working out. So there's a knee problem. I can tell you all the problems and excuses. Lazy, whatever, lazy. Roy Khan, do you think that the snake was on? Okay, hitless. I don't know that was the case with you. I didn't know that was the case with YouTube, Mark. Okay. Full tard. Okay. At Roy Khan, I'm pretty sure they pay in the 22nd of every month. 21st. You're right. 21st. And it's a long stretch. That sucks for them. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Roy Khan, I've read varying stories, but supposedly Joe Gallo and Carmine were the 2 of the 3 shooters. Okay. I believe Carmine was involved in that. He didn't. I know there's different things. And I knew that. It's not like I asked, so what makes me think? He didn't say I'm not sure if Stevie was there, but at some point there was an insinuation that he did. But again, that's not like something I would ask. Why? But I don't know if him and Joey were talking about it. He just didn't. I believe he did that, okay? And I could be totally wrong. Any of the prisons you've been in have large dormitories with bunks of inmates in the same room? Yes. Chino, Arkansas Department of Corrections was all open barracks. There were barracks. And that bunks, that sucks. Chino had bunks. They also had a cell house too, but they had bunks. So yeah. How do they keep people who are computer genius from using the computers and tablets for nefarious purposes? Just ban them from using. There are guys that are banned from using them. And there was a hacker who I know who they called, he was the main hacker for ISIS, like ISIS. And Arditz, I forgot his last name. He was in the control management unit at at FCI Terre Haute. They have a black ops unit, or what's called communication management unit, CMU. John Walker Lynn was in there. A lot of Muslim so-called terrorists are in there. And then you had Stuart Nazet, who was a NASA scientist. They're watching their communications. They let Arditz out. They usually let those guys, if they were going to get out, they put them on the compound for 6 months in Terre Haute, then shipped them off. Arditz came out, was a computer hacking genius. Can't say it was him. He did get out on compassion release, and I cannot believe he did. He had like 20 or 40 years, and he didn't do 10. But he was in prison in the Philippines. He had some crazy stories too. Master, hacker of all hackers, for real. I don't know if he did it, but somebody did some stuff in the library that got into like a main computer system that people say that you couldn't do. There was some crazy shit that went on. But how do they keep them? So, and in the Butner complex, the Chomos figured out a way to communicate from one prison to the other. So there was like 3 prisons, I think. I think the low and the one and the, no, it was the one and the low were communicating with each other. They were writing each other direct messages. Hey, Peter Pervert, you got any child porn? Who knows what the freaks were saying, you know? Yeah, it's all new to you, Rob. Oh yeah, you didn't get to see the whole computer stuff, huh? Yeah, what a trip. Yeah, I can see you're on Team Gallo. That's cool. Oh, this is a good one. Did you ever see anybody claiming to AB but wasn't? Was Red the AB member a serious guy? Red was a punk. He was a dirty white boy who he went to ADX and they made him become an AB so they can get a presence back in general population. He wasn't that guy. There will be some guys, and I've had guys that were offended by me saying that, I do believe. And maybe to some people. So again, we can have 2 people on the same yard that have a totally different experience. We can have 2 people on the same yard. Let's just say 2 white guys, for example. One of them is involved in drugs and gangs and everything. And Red, for example, let's just use his name. They can think of as a serious guy because he's an AB. You got another guy that never even heard of this dude, knows nothing, has no idea that he's this wannabe shot caller, whatever. You can have very, very different experiences in prison. This guy might be staying out of the way, not getting involved. My friend Rob was not involved in any of that shit, but he was hip to whatever went on in prison for sure. You know, he just didn't get high, but he was, you know. And I will say this about you, Rob, from the time I met you, like I figured you would never, ever, ever go back to prison. Like he was disgusted with it. And he was doing home invasions, robbing drug dealers, I think. Yeah. It's that time again. Just a little pinch in the teeth and gum. All right. And didn't Carmine represent himself and admit in court that yes, he did, Roy. Yes. Panic attacks the worst. I never vomited, but I've almost felt like I passed out before. But I my brain, I feel like everybody's watching me. Sometimes I sweat. I didn't today. Sometimes I got to get up and go to the bathroom. I didn't today. It did pass. Yeah, work on his defense during the commission case. Those mafia, he's prop. Yeah, I believe that screwed Joe Scarpo Sr. over because he got wrapped up. Something like that. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Yes, that's why the dude called him a rat at Scarpo or whatever, the Philadelphia guy. That's why he said that. I did a video from that in prison, a video recording, and I messed up. It wasn't. It was over the line of questioning. That's how it came out. You know, was Tommy Karate a nice guy? Super nice. What was it like being in a riot? So I have been involved in almost happening and this and that. The one that I was in the county jail. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to think. It pops. Now, there are situations where you can see that's happened. This one popped, you know, and it was just, it was go gadget. You know, it was just on. He is a serial killer. He is a serial killer. Kept their belongings as a trophy. You talking about Tommy Karate? Is that who you're talking? I was reading some stuff about Carmen Persico. He killed more than 60 people himself and ordered hundreds of more. Yes, he did. So I will say this. I know that they had him on his PSI. I think it said 200 responsible by Carmine. And I want to be correct about this. He said they got it wrong. I think he said 100 and it's like 105 or 106. This wasn't braggadocious. This was talking. It's like these people. It was 105. That was kind of the comment. And I don't know if it was 105, but there was some offhanded comment that I just kind of did what I did now. It was funny. The one, I know that he was being chased by a cop one time. And for whatever reason, he liked this cop. And what happened was they were running and he was cornered and he heard him and he came up over a fence and drew on the cop's face. Like, there's the dude. He didn't pull the trigger because he liked that cop or he knew somebody's family. And the cop just fucking froze and let him go. And he got away. I know that happened. And Greg DePalma, when he was 12, he says, or 11, he says, I talked about this before, that he shot a cop. That was the first time he shot a law enforcement and didn't know if he died or something like that. Hey, what are you doing up so late? Just 3 hours into it, just doing it. That's all. I can't believe John Walker Lynn didn't get life. He was the very least involved. Yep, I know that. Who is the master hacker? Hey, Rob Ross. Really, King Dom? No, like, you know him personally? Yeah, and I got to find your name again in the Facebook, but I ran across your message. So yeah, that'd be something, I do believe. That would be awesome. Maybe that would be my breakout moment. No, not between Big Mac. Barry Mills was talking to the Dirty White Boys, and it was through the toilets, so I couldn't see a demeanor. I was talking through the pipes in the toilets. We drained our water in the toilets, and it's the phone system. That's how it works. Hey, Doug Ross, I have been good. Hope I'm making a new batch of chocolate this week. Okay, I see. King Dom Rob is up late because he's being interviewed by Lonnie. That was good. Hardest thing is to keep all the things you promised you would do, Rob, when released. I found I made so many promises to myself that in the last week or two, i.e. working out. Yeah, Doug, man, it's part of my character flaw, I found out. I think I'm going to use this ice cream. Yeah, I got it in what ice cream cake. Kiev. I got in it with this. Okay. Trump pardoned him. Yeah, Trump pardoned. Yep. Yeah, dude, that if you know that dude, the hacker I was talking about was Ardit something. He was from what was the war with the uh Kosovo and the Serbians? I think he's a Serb. Whatever. I think. Yeah, he was not from Kosovo, he's from the other place. And he's back home now. And we have talked since I've been out. And I think he hacked me for my ex-wife. We're new. I don't know. I'm just. Do you do your first prison stint in California prison system? I did in LA County Jail, my first prison in Arkansas, then went to LA County, then went to California. Sending a little care package this weekend to Dom. I thought I'd save your info in my emails. Fuck, I can't find your email. Doug, okay, you ready? As you're talking about me. Doug, damn, what happened? What just froze up? Why did this just freeze up? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This just froze all the way. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay, you guys are talking. I got you. Okay. Okay, I got you. What are the different units in what are the different units the COs use? Dart squad? I don't understand the question. The goon squad? The goon squad is the SORT teams, special operation resort team or task, something like that. Ninja Turtles. It's when they dress up like Ninja Turtles. Oh, okay, I got it. I think he's trying to do something. Okay. What are you saying about the guy that was in the Bosnian war? No, that was the hacker. He was the hacker. And what happened was he was hacking, and he is a Muslim, but not a practicing Muslim. Man, he had a good story. He couldn't believe it when he went to prison. The Muslims all made him carry a knife. They were carrying knives. This is a Terra Hut FCI too. Dude, this dude, he would be, I wonder if I can get him. It's been a long time. We haven't talked in a minute. I think he got upset with me because I was like, did you hack my shit? Maybe I was tweaking. Kingdom, Rob, I'm getting. Yeah, okay, you're getting King Dom's email, I think. Do the prison politics vary greatly between the feds? Absolutely. And was the state politics very different between California? Oh my God. Arkansas, there really wasn't. Well, yeah, there was politics. It was, you're white, you got nothing coming, even from your own people. You might get raped. Choose a daddy if you're weak. And I have seen probably realistically 1, 2, 3 or 4 white guys. I'll never forget seeing white pride on somebody's back in Arkansas. White pride sucking a black dude off in the toilet. White pride. I have seen dudes with Swazi on their face down on a black dude in Arkansas. Yes, I have. PayPal's up here. Robert Rosso 410. Doug? Huh. I just got my PayPal card. The ISIS guy, what was his personality like? Young, a kid. So here's what he did. Okay. Oh, I got all the information on. It's not in one of these. It's not. Oh, do I have it? Hold on. Told you I kept journals in prison. Is this the right one? Shit. Panic. These are all every bit of this is a story. Damn, this is some bad. I don't want to read this right now. Oh man, not tonight. I don't want to stay up. Yeah, that's it. Are you saying on PayPal? Oh, on PayPal it says okay. And it does. I never even checked. It is correct, right? I know that's what they got me marked at. I know that's what they got me marked at. Yeah. I want to talk to Tracy. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Rob, didn't you ever see the HBO documentary called Banging in the Rock? Yes, I saw. I've seen it recently. Funnier than shit, dude. When I went down, it was there was a bunch. I don't know, Rob. I'm going off your screen. Yes. Okay. Not PayPal. I got you. I didn't check PayPal. And I don't know. I want to make sure real quick. Take my glasses off. Facial recognition. Let me make sure. I'm sorry. Where can I find it at? Yeah, at Robert Rosso 410. That's what it says. Personal account. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, that just said something different. What the hell did it say? Activate your credit card. I haven't did my debit card yet. So does my debit card need to be activated for that? I don't think it does. I don't think so. But anyway, have things changed in Arkansas from what it was? Yes, it did. 1998, the sexual assaults like they were stopped. So PREA laws came out, Prison Reform Litigation, or whatever it's called, PREA, Prison Rape Elimination Act, I think. That white gangs stopped a lot of it. There is still some, but it's more. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't been there in a long time, but it totally changed. And they started giving guys cases that were doing it, and they even started going back, I think, and dudes that got shots, disciplinaries, and charge them. They went like overkill on it for a minute, so to speak. But yeah, that happened. Priya, yeah. Yes, thank you, King Dom. I've got to make a note about King Dom FB. Look, all right. Okay. But the hacker, let me finish the story. So he was a hacker at 11 years old. His uncle, he worked in his uncle's computer store. By the way, he had stories about that war. So after the war, they used to pay the kids. He was like 6 years old, I believe. They used to pay him to go locate bodies. So they would go to people's houses and like say, and they'd give him like a couple dollars to locate bodies because there's so many bodies. He wasn't a bullshitter type of person. He went to prison in Thailand or the Philippines. They extradited him, and they talked about how they kept him in a box. They'd keep you cramped down in like a little box or something. I forgot what place it was, but he lived there for a while and he loved that country. I forgot which one it was. And but he somehow came across this ISIS dude. He hacked into their account. And then it was just so the way I took it and the way knowing him, because I talked to him for about for 2 to 3 months pretty steady. He was a smart guy. I was talking to him about websites or something. I forgot. There was a mutual friend of ours named Shane, and we'd walk in the afternoon sometimes. But he hacked their account. Then he ended up getting in with the guys, and they called him the ISIS Santa Claus. You guys might want to Google it or whatever. Art it something. But there was like, oh, wait a minute. It was something to do. Oh man, I've got the information. I've got it all down. There was something to do during the Obama administration, not the Obama administration. Was it the Obama administration when something happened in Iran? Oh man, I gotta look. I gotta look because it's important. It's actually a big deal. There was like people died over this kid. There was like things that happened. By the way, there was one of the head ISIS guys was in a relationship with the English girl who was a Fed or out of England, whatever their secret police are. They were in a relationship. This girl had a baby with this dude. And she set him up where they were at a restaurant. And when the dude left, blew him up, blew his ass up. That happened. Yeah, look, you guys can look him up. I'll find. I'll got it. I got to really. Okay, that's that. I'll do that. Well, I don't want to say days again. I fuck that up. Most CEOs are not normal or good guys. I said not all. Oh, okay, that's a fact. There's usually like 1 out of 20 CEOs that are decent, normal people, not crooked weirdos. Rob, did you see the female CEO that made a video with an inmate and put it on her OnlyFans? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Got to be a weirdo to volunteer to go to prison. Okay. Well, yeah, that was England. Okay. See that, Dom? She was actually hot. How common was rape in your jail, Rob? In the Sebastian County Jail, I know of low down in that kid, the Cuban, Pawnee, and the other one, so 3. So there are 4 different instances that I knew that were just 2 of them I heard, and they were like brutal. The worst one that I heard was at Leavenworth in the Shoe, a dude named Lonnie. He's dead now. Lonnie, White Horse, Fast Horse was his name. And there was this is a Native American. And there was another Native American named Mitchell. You ever see a native totem pole? Like the chief, the guy at the top? Mitchell looked just like that. Looked just like one. And was a terrible, terrible drunk. I was in the cell by myself in the Shoe. They were next door. And Mitchell was a gump. Okay. And there was a black dude that was a gump chaser. And he kept sending Mitchell notes and books. And that night, we were making wine together. So we're taking our supplies. I was making it myself. And then when I'd strain the wine off, I'd send the bag underneath the door and they'd fish it in. I sent them, so we had 3 gallons. We all got a gallon apiece, okay? It was a half-assed wine. I remember it was okay. I had a gallon, so I'm going to get fucked up either way. We all had gallons, so that's what mattered. And we came down too early. It was too watery, too sweet, but we got drunk. I heard Lonnie say, what the fuck, you FAG, you fag, this and that. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Shut up. Boom, slap him. Get in the shower. I don't want to. Get in the shower. Boom, shut up. You're fat. And then he started, was going up in him saying, you said you're nothing but a, you're nothing but a fag. Just like screaming, right? Beat him. This dude, he was so beat up. So he was getting out the next day. And he did not tell. Said he fell off the bunk. But he brutally sexually assaulted him for being gay. Things happen. Yeah. Ever met, and I did a video about that too, somewhere along the line. You ever met Ramsey Yousaf, or was he gone before you got there? They cleared the corridor one day and locked us. And I said to myself, I'm locked in a room with the guy who blew up the Trade Center. Is that the one with the redheaded one? The redheaded Muslim dude, or with red hair and red freckles type of dude? He was at Leavenworth. I don't know the name though offhand. I had 2 guys I knew throughout my life later came COs, and one of them used to sell coke to me, ended up quitting. Another one used to sell bud for me, still a CO. I never trust a guy who volunteers to look up. Yes, are you still selling them, Jimmy? Yes, they're actually up. I'm probably going to take them down soon. If you're going to buy one, wait till tomorrow. because I have to make sure my bank account's set up on that. I think the bank account's cost this. Was the military inmates different in any ways from the rest of the inmates? I think so, yeah. You can tell that they were military. A lot of them were in there for killing their old ladies or killing people. They were mostly for crimes like that, crimes of passion. Or there's the one kid, that's a good one, and I can't remember. So there was a case where these guys killed somebody for being gay. I think it was like one of the first big cases. There was a few of them. One of them was in Lewisburg. I would remember. He was a really good writer too. Are you familiar with Eric Odd? He was the only American in a Pakistan prison at the time. No, I'm not familiar with that one. No, Lonnie, not really, if anything, in the PC. From what I say, at least. Roy Khan, she actually wasn't English. She was a Spanish or Portuguese. We got some attractive gals to look at. No, Yusuf wasn't. Okay. Totally different full tart. Lonnie. White horse. Fast horse. And you know why he was in prison? He was a bad drunk and he was beating people to death. He would go out and he'd fight and he would beat them till they died. And he was like a serial killer. They had him down. I read his paperwork. They had him down as probably more, but he would beat them to death. So let's say 3 guys went out drinking on the res. Somebody was dying that night. He would just beat them. And he wouldn't do it at one time. He would do it all night. All night. Yeah, vicious. No, I don't remember that, Rob. The accent's the only thing. Roy Khan, I just looked it up. Her name is Linda, Portuguese. How do you personally handle haters, Rob? So I sometimes write stuff back. I sometimes laugh. They sometimes get in my head and they will create other drama for me video wise sometimes. Yeah. So it's just different ways. I do believe that on the heels of the AB stuff that I did, where I was outing some of them and getting people that were talking, and then I came right off and did some mob stuff, that it sends me doing stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, I do. It's something to work on. But that's Rob has been pretty funny with certain haters. Yeah, it's just, you know what? This is the truth. I enjoy the shit out of it, man. There really isn't anything that somebody can pull up on me and say, "Aha, you did this." There just isn't. And if there is or has been in the past, I address it way ahead of time. I get all the dirt out. Of course, when it came to the drug use and stuff like that during probation, there's some difference. But it's like wreck to me at times, and it's not a good trait, okay? It has done damage to my channel and to personal issues with probation, with different stuff. And I believe that you can see a difference in my tone in some videos that has trailed for the last 3 weeks. I do. It has been brought up to me in a different way, but I do. The whole "don't be a Jimmy" thing got me as a hater. It never, and I never meant that. I never, ever, ever. And I did destroy him. I do. I did. And I don't care about that because I don't have nothing against I mean, it's just one of those guys that says that he did something for a reason, cooperate, that he was lying about. He just didn't want to do the time. And that's it. That's the whole thing about it. And it just got on a roll. At the time, it really felt good, probably deflecting other shit in my life. Now, it's not. I don't know. We'll figure this out together here. Why would anyone be a hater on Rob? Good guy with the content. Because I have I've made some people look at different people in a different light. I have did my best to try to bust mystiques, mystery, whatever, uh, of or the mythical aspect of the mafia or the ABs. That is not to say that these people cannot be dangerous and cannot kill. That's not to say that. I guess I never understood until I got on YouTube of, first of all, if you're from, I'm using New York as an example, and you grew up around people in that life, I'm sure that if you had a Tommy Karate and guys on the street idolized him, I'm just using examples, that it would mean something more to people that were around it, or whose families were affected by it, or who knew people in the mob, or who idolized or hated them. It would be a lot different meaning than somebody to me. But in doing so, I have pointed out that they're not people that you believe. I wasn't around in the 70s and 80s. I don't know who they were there. I was around in the 90s and 2000 up until I was from 98 to 2021 in the feds with them. So I got to see something that other people wouldn't believe or see. That's the truth. ABs, I have been around a handful of them. I was around in the shoe, Barry Mills and T.D. Bingham and Mac and those dudes, and heard having conversations with dirty white boys to switch patches, whatever, and saw firsthand the dirty white boys take tables from a yard that was an AB yard. So it's just based on experience or something, you know. That's what it comes down to. I don't think people should join gangs. I would want younger people not to join gangs. Listen, man. Was there good times in it? Yes. Are there good guys in the mob that are good people? Yes. Are there good guys that are killers? Yes. When you've been around people and you see a person as a human and not as their crime, it's a different ball game. You know, it's a different ball game. You see how people carry themselves in prison. It's just different, you know. Because they're lying phonies and Rob isn't, Roy. That's what it is. Thanks, King Dom. Be themselves like Rob. I will say this about people being themselves on YouTube. I see a lot of actors, but it works. Some of the biggest channels, you know. I go to JD Delay. I'm not trying to get people, I'm not here to hate on him, because it's not. He actually did a video about the what's the kid right now with the stabbing case in Texas. You know what I'm talking about. You don't have to put it up. He did a video about him going to prison. That was accurate, you know, in his take. So I don't believe if you talk to him, that's how he's talking normally. I can name a lot of different people, you know. So they have this shtick. It's a shtick, you know. My shtick is me whining about my fucked up life. I mean, that's my shtick, I guess. It is. Oh, Roy, I got a bunch of them. I got a bunch, and I got a bunch of guys in certain genres of the mob stuff that just cannot stand me right now because I said stuff about Michael and my wife getting high. Oh God, I had a probation officer my probation officer was sick because he had to watch my videos, you know. Yeah, they watched it. It was all part of my hearing, my probation hearing, man. They tried to get me to stop. Lots of rats calling us PO. Yes, they did. They called, Lonnie. They called my PO. They called to complain about me. Guy was just executed in here in Georgia. It's Georgia, I guess, 2 days ago, who killed his girlfriend and her 3 young kids. Well, we was an Army Ranger. Oh, okay, in Afghan. Really? Huh. You got a lot of harassment by lying cop callers. Yes, I did. Edwin, Mr. Robert, blessings always. Glad you are doing good. Blessings always. May our Lord and our Holy Mother, the Virgin Mary, and the Immaculate Conception always guide you the best wishes. Edwin, I thank you for that. Thank you. Are the Nazi lowriders still around? Are they in the feds? No, they're spread out all over. They're everywhere. There are a lot of places. All right, Edwin. Carmelo Anthony, yeah. Rob actually was far more a positive influence for the youth and discouraged crime and prison, etc. So whatever the system was complaining about, Rob on the internet was BS in my opinion. Okay, wait. Rob actually was far more a positive influence for the youth and discouraged crime and prison, etc. So whatever the system was complaining about, Rob on the internet was my BS. So look, yes, a part of my agenda in telling prison stories was not to glamorize, even though I was accused of that many times. It was not ever to. I am sure, and I'm sure I will still do it. When I talk, people could think that, and maybe sometimes I am. Thinking back about fond memories. Yes, I had fond memories of being in prison. Imagine that. Spent most of my life there. But it's not something I long to go back for. I long to live up to my potential, and I'm not doing it. That's the truth. But I'm getting there. And I'll go here, and I get scared sometimes, and I do get up at night that I will fail. And I'm not talking about drug use only. Amen. King Dom, were they a farm team for the ABs? Were you talking about the? Yeah. Some of them would want to be ABs. Some of them hate the ABs. As far as the Nazi riders, did the mob guys fill up the napkins in the dining area? Mob guys fill up the napkins in the dining area. What do you mean fill up the napkins? On the napkin crew, like to fill them up? I was on the napkin crew at Leavenworth. It was the best job ever. It meant that every day I got to go to the kitchen and get drunk. That's what being, and that Junior Bradley, a fence for the mob in Kansas City, made homemade Italian food for me. Wonderful. It was great. Great. I'd come back. I have walked down that hall seeing 2 hallways and 4 correctional officers, and there was 2 there. That fucked up. I was on one. I was on a bad everything. I was like, I needed to be locked back up in the hole, even though there's stuff in the hole, but I needed to slow down. And there was what was his name? He had a brother. I can't think of his name right now, at Leavenworth. And I would run up to the snake pit. That was my brother's cell, Kenny, the guy who died, called it the snake pit, and shoot dope and drink. And I would, when the move came on at 3 o'clock, I'd run back downstairs. One day, I was so wasted, I was laughing. Ha, 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 and I'm running down the spiral stairs. When I get to the bottom, it's shift change. And there's a team of correctional officers. And I missed the step, and I fell, and I rolled like a straight somersault, got back up and kept running. Ha, 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 and was laughing. Ha, ha, and the cops were like, what the fuck? And they came in during count time. I couldn't stand for count. And he said, you've done this 3 days in a row, man. It's time to roll. Oh, Edwin, thanks. Robert, no matter how many people try to act on YouTube, sooner or later their true personality comes out. No one can fake their true personality. Yeah, sure they could be viewed as such a tart. So, again, I'm just saying, my point was that people have these sticks, these sticks, I guess that's the right word. And, but it's working for them, man. Can't knock something that's working for dudes. You know what I'm saying? You can't. Did you find bugs in your food? Fuck yeah, there's bugs in the food. Man, there would be bugs crawling on the salad bar. You just knock them out of the way if you're hungry. Yeah, the salad bar, you'd find worms, roaches. Yeah, not like all the time, but then it's best not to look. There was some dude in Arkansas that was putting shit in the food for a long time before it was found out. Yeah. I don't remember what happened to him, but yeah, he did. Exactly, Edwin. Even the biggest, like Mr. Beast, got exposed. Did CO spit in your food? I'm sure they did. I'm sure in some trays they did. There's no way. I'd do it to them. I used to tell them, you treat me better than I would treat you. You treat me better than I'd treat you. I've said that many times. Not so much for the other inmates. Yes, there's guys. There's been, there's been so many guys that have done foul stuff. There's no way that there hasn't been. For sure. Back there alone, they're just doing sick shit. COs don't usually do their own dirt. They encourage other inmates to do it. Yeah, that's absolutely true. What's your goals in the next year, Rob? Wow, Lonnie. You know what? Honestly, right now, I there's some things that pop in my head, but I will not say it. And the reason is, A, I'm afraid of failure. Full stop. B, I'm afraid of disappointing myself. And there's a lot I need to work on. There's a lot. But you also brought something else. I need to narrow it. I need to narrow things. I'm a big ideas guy. I need an assistant. I need somebody who can execute my ideas, okay? I don't have that. And I'm not saying I want that, right? I'm just saying, so I'm just, even in the addiction recovery stuff that I said I was starting 2 weeks ago, that is so much on my brain every day. And it is so wrapped up in so much in science, in regular, the ACT model, they call it, AA stuff, brain science, psychology, philosophy. There's so much banging going on. Just these that I find it hard to pull the trigger and start. I can't find my starting point to do what I know inside I need to do, but I can't articulate it to even myself properly. I did reach out to somebody and ask for guidance today, and actually a couple people, and I am figuring that out. Yeah. Rob, did any of the guys ever talk about the good movie Goodfellas? If so, no. Not that I can remember. No. No. Am I dismissing that too quickly? Possibly. I can't think of any. Al Dante. Did you know if Benny used drugs in jail? He does not snort coke when he is out. No. Benny was not at, maybe some pot. King, isn't that because the COs in other prison admit eat food in the prep? Okay, Roy, so there are staff members that will eat regular food, but they also have their separate kitchen areas, okay? But I have seen Warden Booker was a big, huge, fat black dude, 400-something pounds, 6'5", smoked cigars this long, waddled, couldn't walk, he waddled, and would go to the chow hall and sit down. He'd go to the chow hall and just take a seat wherever and eat food with the inmates, okay? And has walked up on us pouring a pitcher of wine, drinking wine, and just kicked it with us while we drank wine. Rob, where I spent time, we grew our own vegetables. I got to walk in the potato fields, pick out rocks. One inmate drove the tractor. So you did time in the South. Let's call it what it is. Yes, Arkansas does the same self-sufficient food system, I guess they call it. White pride going down. Just a dude that did time. These guys were from California dudes that did time in California. And let me tell you something. So here's the difference, okay? California, homosexual activity was not permitted. Did guys do it? Sure. I don't know of any off the top of my head. There was one dude down there. Yeah, okay, but anyway. The Mexican guys, as I remember, because I do remember this incident, well, they would do the, so I don't know what their rules and stuff are, but I know that they were having oral sex done. Some of them, not all of them. I don't think that was frowned upon. So I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But in that case, just white guys so California, you're protected from that stuff, okay? You don't have to do that stuff. Sure, anybody can get caught in a situation, in a back room or something. If that was going to happen, if somebody wanted to do that, I don't know of those stories in California. I'm sure they have happened, okay? Then you go to Arkansas. So you do time in California and you're used to like all the woods getting your back, all right? Then you go to Arkansas and you're on your own. Whites do not come and help you. They didn't back then. And I asked somebody who did a lot of time there, what was that about? They said because there's so many dudes that would turn into punks that we wanted to see what they're about. We let them see, because so there was times when dudes would come up, mostly black, but whites do too, and say, choose a daddy. Which one? There's like 5 dudes, and these dudes would choose. And that was it. I seen some white dudes that should have never been involved in homosexual shit, holding belt loops. That was the thing in Arkansas. It wasn't pants pockets like on Prison Break. It was holding a belt loop. Imagine walking down the hall and holding your daddy's belt loop. That's why I have a t-shirt that says, hang on, Big Dad's belt loop or whatever. That was to show, this is mine, don't touch him. And they would do it. Yeah, so that's what that was about. That's what those guys were about. They don't eat that shit. They eat to bring in the food. No, so they're like I said, they don't eat that shit. That's BS. I've seen. Okay, yeah, no, but I've seen it, Dom. That's King Dom. That's what I'm saying. And beef as well, bro. We had to move veggies in the root cellar. Yeah, you're sounding more and more back at the South, right? Have you heard from? Ha! Yes, I have. Did ask a That's cool. No, that's cool. Look, I'll say this. There is no denying, and I'm not here to deny, that I am tore up over that relationship. Okay? There's no denying it. I'm not gonna end just because of this, but I've been on 4 hours. There's absolutely no denying that. I talked to her today, okay, to answer your question. But I don't know. Like, so I'm not, it's not like like I'm sitting here drowning my sorrows or nothing like that. No. I'm a bigger boy about that now. We spent time together since I've been out. 3 weeks. And it was really, really, really good as friends. Okay. And then there's no fight, there's no animosity. It's not like that. Right now, it's just is what it is. That's what I can say. I mean, I'll openly say I miss her death, love her to death. Biggest mistake of my life for sure. And that is not based on her looks. That's not based on she's 16, 17 years younger than me. It's based on conversation. It's based on, there's a lot more. So I don't care about, I really don't care about saying that. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's where it comes from. And yeah, I'll stop right there. So, like I said, it's not like I'm getting like I'm just trying to be careful. I have put so much out about that. So I don't get upset when there's idiots that'll say that, like to try to rub me. And they're like, I was laughing because some of them were talking greasy, saying, oh, Marta, this, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm just like this with her an hour ago, so it was stupid. But you think the gravitational fields right now, we'll see, whatever. I miss her for sure. Some of them talked about Steven Seagal. JoJo hated Steven Seagal, told me he was on the stand. Oh, that's right. He did talk about Steven Seagal. You're absolutely right. Yeah, he did. New Jersey time was where we actually did. Okay, personally. I brought hacksaw blades in from the shop outside a dude from Cali. He was on the run from charges nonviolent, getting his time done. Or shit up there, then deported. He almost made it. You can't bring shit into a New Jersey prison. Oh, what's your car? Okay, just no. Gosh, sure they can, Roy. That's easy, Roy. Camden Prison. Okay. Or Butch. Or I forgot it was Jill. Okay. Alberta. Bit better than bar just closed. Okay, I meant not supposed to be cleaned up. Yeah, you wouldn't think. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute. I'm 70 and my wife as well. Man, I don't know whether to say congratulations or poor you, Stephen. How the hell was a girl like Marta and 17-year-old jailbird? Where did you all meet? I was in prison, and she read an article that I wrote. That's how it all started. I hear you, Rob. I made my bed long ago. Now I'm laying it. Yeah. Dom, I turned up the screws in old Dodge, and shit, saying we went to the shop, didn't do it. Okay, you're talking about that. Roy, thank you, Roy. Thanks for keeping some of us insomniac. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to try to get some sleep. When somebody asks you, who's your daddy, do you fight your way out of that situation? You should. Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you have to. Okay. All right, guys. Bar just closed. I'm gone. Wow, this has been the longest one, I think. I think 4 hours. But I appreciate the donations, not the donations, comments, keeping this going. And tomorrow night Mike's going to probably be here. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do live together. I don't know. So we'll see about that. I got to call him now. And Jesus, what time is it? When you were 40, she didn't exist. Yeah, I answered that. Rob missed it. Did you get PayPal? Hope so. Doug, yeah, it's on there. PayPal. Oh, you're saying, did I get it? Okay, wait, well, hold on. Are you asking? Yes. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. Yes, I just did. Thank you, bro. So I didn't get a ding, so I don't have it set up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rob passed. No, he got it. He sent it. That's what he was saying. Okay, guys. Maybe tomorrow night. Maybe Mike Miller will be on with me here. We'll see what happens. Take care. Have a good one.